Whoa!
I was
Holy
muted that
man.
whole time. Everyone
Howdy, y'all.
Yeehaw, everyone.
Yeehaw, indeed.
Welcome
Yeehaw,
back to-
indeed hard. No, that didn't work. No.
This is close, though.
We move on. We move on.
Welcome back to the Weird West, our third Wednesday of the month campaign. This is session 3. I am very happy to be back with these wonderful characters. Of course, you folks know Adam and Sean, but if this is your first time tuning in, we are joined by two amazing guest players, Erik and Becca. Erik, can you tell us about yourself and the server that you're a part of? Please,
I can.
please.
So I'm happy to be here again, continuing on. I come from the D&D Friends server. It is a one-shot server over on Discord. We are always happy to see more people, so we'll get the link in the chat later on, and bring yourself on over. I have the privilege of being Tim's brother. Tim brought me into this wonderful game of D&D. My first one-shot ever was played alongside our lovely DM M, DM'd by Tim. So all in the family. I'm happy to be here, and I hope to see some new folks over on the one-shot server with me.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. And send me the link and I can, one of us can drop it in the chat for you. And we're joined by the amazing Becca. Becca, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I am Becca. I do not come from another server, but I do come from being friends with these D&Ders.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Well, I would say you're an official D&D aficionado now yourself.
Yeah.
So
you're a professional D&D player now.
You're a professional D&D player now. Yes.
Yeah, I love D&D. I've been playing for a few years, but this is like the most official game I've ever played, and definitely the most snazzy. Really happy to be here. Outside of this, I do ocean stuff. Love the ocean.
Well, that's good because we are nowhere near the ocean. We are in the middle of a desert.
That's the best way to be vague about that.
I feel like for the next campaign we have Becca in. It has to be a pirate campaign, so that Becca would know so much about the ocean. Amazing. Okay, we are also going to be joined tonight by a special guest. I am not going to announce who they are. You will meet them momentarily. Going to be very, very exciting. So I'm going to do some quick announcements and then we will jump into our intro and then dive into the Weird West. So a big thank you to our sponsors, Legendcraft, a nerdy woodworking company from Calgary. Check them out, and if anything tickles your fancy, enter the code Blackwater at checkout for a discount. We're also proud to be sponsored by Sirenscape because epic games require epic sound. We also have two amazing partners. The first up is Legend Keeper. This is the ultimate world building tool created by DMs for DMs. It is just one of the most beautiful pieces of software that I have ever seen. Tim and I are very, very excited. We are going to be taking Tim's giant Google Hell document and translating it over into Legend Keeper on the first Friday of every month starting in March. You can come watch us, Tim and I, spend an evening figuring out Legend Keeper together, and me doing a whole bunch of inputting, and Tim just not telling me any secrets. So I'm really excited about that. Please go give those folks a follow on Twitter, and we're so excited to grow as they grow and as we grow as well. And our next partnership is indeed Kobold Press. We are very excited to announce that we are going to be bringing a new campaign to you starting Sunday, March 6th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at twitch.tv/Kobold Press. This campaign is entirely homebrewed and DM'd by Tim, set in the Margrave, which is a twisted fey forest filled with dark magic in their Midgard setting for an 8-week run, possible extension to 12 weeks if it is very well attended. And if it goes really well, then they will bring us back potentially in the fall as well. So please stay tuned to socials for all of that kind of stuff. It is, as I said, DM'd by Tim, featuring Adam and Cody and myself, and also our dear friends Brianna DeCoster and Gordy Lucius. It's going to be such a good time. My contacts arrived today from my cosplay, and I'm over the moon about it. I'm so excited to try that on and send a cos test to everyone. Going to be a very good time, so stay tuned to our socials for more info. Love as always to our dice goddess Keisha. Check her out at fairydragon_dice, and our amazing artist is Tiana Kovacevic. You can find her at Mr._Martian on Instagram. Both of their commissions are closed. Sorry, they're super busy folks, but they're so talented and we love them. If you would like to get some of our art on your bod and stuff, we have a merch store. Type !merch in the chat to find a link to our Redbubble store, and come join our Discord, !Discord, to find that link. But while we're streaming, hang out in the Twitch chat, wherever that is, because that's where all the cool kids are. A big thank you to those of you who subscribe to us. Don't forget to re-up your subscriptions every month. And if you'd like to support our show above and beyond a subscription, type !donate in the chat to figure out where to do that. We're also just really thankful to have you here week after week doing this stuff with us. If you fall behind, I'm very sorry that happened. But never fear. YouTube is a wonderful place for that. Pardon me, type ! YouTube and go follow us over there, like and subscribe, and to stay up to date on the action. A final very exciting announcement as I wear my new Blackwater shirt, which is so exciting. We are going to be at Fan Expo this coming weekend. Happening at the Vancouver Convention Center. We have 2 panels on Saturday, February 19th. Our first is at 11 a.m. on stage 3, where you're going to see myself and Sean and Adam talk about how to improve your game as a player and as a DM through role play and character development. And that Tim's also going to be there. But then in the evening, you're going to see Adam and Sean and Tim do a DM's workshop. So please, if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to come to Fan Expo, you can type !Fan Expo in the chat, and you can follow the link to go get tickets. We're going to just be there Saturday. Also, our dear friends at Legendcraft are also going to be there. So if you've ever wanted to come see products from Legendcraft, they are going to be in the Artist Alley, their booth A619, I think. So please come hang out with them. I think they're going to come to both of our panels as well. Love those guys. Very excited to meet them in person because I haven't met them in person yet. So lastly, whether you're new with us tonight or you've been with us for ages, thank you so much. Oh, and sorry, I forgot as well. We are back on Saturday too, for our main campaign. Because of Fan Expo, we may be starting our session a little bit later, maybe 8:30, just depending on what time the lads get home. So that we can roll into streaming for the evening. We'll be joined once more by the amazing Jeremy Kov as he, as our guide, Will Wax Sniv, the Kobold Druid Ranger, with art by Tiana. It is Jeremy is a treat.
Hopefully we don't go to midnight, which is 3 a.m. for Jeremy again.
Yes.
We
will try and not be late. No, he was so happy. He messaged me the next day. He was like, it was amazing. I had so much fun. So he's very excited to be coming back. And we, with that, whether you're new with us tonight or you've been with us for ages, thank you so much for your support. We love you immensely, and thank you for hanging out at our table. We hope you feel really, really welcome here. So roll that clip. Roll the clip. Roll the clip.
Do we have a clip?
We are back. All right, everyone.
Yeehaw! Let's go.
Let's get weird. So last time on the Weird West, Spagg, Slender Marv, Hass, and Wyatt returned Allison Bainbridge home from her captivity in the mines, but not before toying with the small amount of Zolve that Hass carried around in the jar. Yeah. After retrieving the bounty from the deputies Dupree, they reunited Allison with their parents. Grateful, the miners threw them a party of sorts amongst the houses of Clementine. They met Geraldine Capshaw, who offered them a seance to try and contact whatever entity seemed to be behind the strange goings-on. They then popped into the Cup and Pony, where they were encouraged to take the day off by Mr. Galward and return the next morning for some more potential work. From there, they made their way over to the Ambrosia Inn. Wyatt got a massage and a little bit more than he paid for with Tulip and learned that there had been some hushed whispers of the Shoth in one of the rooms. Hass distracted Jetson Dupree with a drink while Dahlia approached Spagg as the cacophony breaks out just beyond the tavern doors. And that is where we pick up as you hear the rumbling of windows shattering, screaming, ripping wood, breaking of glass, and gunfire right outside the doors of the tavern. I'm going to set the scene a little bit, and then we can dive right into what you all would like to do. Marv, you're about 15 feet away from Spagg, having just walked away from the table as Dahlia walked over, and you're about 30 feet from the door outside. Hass, you're seated with Jetson Dupree, who for the briefest seconds flashes you a cocky grin. And he looks at you and he says, "As much fun as you are, my dears, seems like there are bigger things coming." And he and Calloway are beginning to stand to run outside. As Spagg, as you are talking to Dahlia, she looks at you and she says, with her hand just moved away from yours, "You all wish to keep your bones so badly. Take these as an offering if you're so desperate to have them." And she's going to stand up and start trying to move away from you.
What? Oh, sorry. I'll let you.
No, that's okay. Wyatt, you are upstairs, lying in bed with Tulip. Can you roll a D100 for me, please?
Oh, you hate to hear that.
Nah, that's great. It's an 82.
Amazing. So both of you are mostly dressed at this point. That was what you were rolling for, is how much clothing you had on.
Obviously, the gun belt on first. I work it over the trousers.
I have to ask,
Yes.
Adam, is Wyatt a socks first or a socks last kind of guy?
He's a gun belt first, I'm sure.
No. The gun belt never left. That was established.
No.
Like,
I did saw she takes off the gun belt when he was like, "Oh, we're doing this thing." But the gun belt comes back on real fast.
But like,
that's the first one.
If he's mostly dressed, like, what are the last two items for this gentleman?
His socks and then his boots.
Okay.
Okay, so he is barefoot.
That's fine.
Okay,
fucking
great.
die hard over here. Let's go.
We'll
In
say
a
that
tank top.
we'll say that Tulip is in kind of like her would be like a slip with her, and you've been helping her relace her corset that is now mostly tied. Her skirts are on. She too is barefoot. As the sound breaks out outside, she looks to the window and looks back at you. She goes, "There's a ladder off the balcony. It'll be quicker." She then jumps off the bed and she runs over to her armoire, throwing it open, and you see her reach into the back, and she pulls out a rifle with an impressive scope and cartridge, loading the gun with technique that rivals your own, slinging the other cartridges around her on a bandolier. And Wyatt, you would know the make of that gun anywhere. That's a Winchester. And you see a shiny gold inlay and floral engraving on the stained and polished walnut wood of the stock. She looks up at you. "Go. I'll cover you."
Excuse me for being forward, but I think I might be in love.
And for the sake of this, for you, Wyatt, as a bonus action, you can call to Tulip to take a shot for you from the balcony vantage point, if you would like to use a bonus action to do so, either to hit a target of your choosing or to give you cover if you're attempting to do something.
Cool.
Oh, that's fresh.
Yes. So now what we're going to do is kind of have you folks decide what you'd like to do as a group, because there's lots of moving parts here, and then we'll see how things play out. Some bad folks might do some bad things. You guys are going to kind of go as a group. They will do some bad things, and we'll do a modified initiative until combat breaks out, because it will probably at some point. Yes.
Just before any action starts.
Yes.
Dahlia.
Yes.
Left some bones in my hand or on the table. I missed the.
Oh no, she just said that to you.
Oh, she didn't.
She said
anything.
You wished to keep your bones so badly. Take these as an offering if you're so desperate to have them. And she stands up and she's trying to move away.
Oh, I thought she gave me bones.
No.
That was my understanding.
I think that
That's
these are the people who have arrived.
Well, we'll do.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, Jetson and Calloway are starting to get up and away. Marv, you're about 30 feet from the door, 15 feet from Spagg, and Wyatt, you are upstairs with a very beautiful gun brandishing prostitute.
Are the I can only assume that the ground floor is windowless in this establishment.
No, there are some windows, big ones up at the front. It is one of the few, it is a very lavish establishment. So there would be some big windows at the front with velvet curtains that are kind of drawn and shaded. So, but you can see it's pretty dark, but you do see people running past and you hear gunfire coming from outside and just cacophony.
Well, great. Then if Dahlia takes her leave, I'll just scoot on over to one of those windows and pull back that velvet curtain, see what's what.
Absolutely. Okay, so as you quickly peek outside, you look. The Ambrosia faces is on like the T juncture of the street. The church is kind of about halfway up the street, and at the very end of the street, because you rode in past it, that is where the graveyard of Clementine would be. And coming up from down the street, you see people running, screaming. There is glass breaking, shots are being fired, and it is like there are a group of, actually make me a perception check. There's something coming towards you, but we'll see how well you see it.
Oh, Spagg. All right, what do you got? How's your perception? Oh no, I'm quite far-sighted. Oh, okay, that's a 9. It's pretty good for Spagg.
Okay, you see it almost looks like a wave of something that is dark, but there are yells and groans and moaning and screaming as it kind of is rolling down the street towards you. You can pick out, it doesn't seem to be like a wave. It seems to be individual figures, but there is a giant group of them making their way down the street towards the Ambrosia.
Oh boy, trouble! I shout to the just anyone.
People inside the bar are beginning to panic. The non-adventuring patrons are just screaming. Everyone is making their way kind of into the back of the bar. Do you keep an eye on Dahlia as you run over to the window, or do you let her go?
Nah, fucking.
You let her go. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to know. Marv, what are you doing?
So Spagg heads over to this window. I hear him say that, and I just want to ask, so he's at a window. Is it near the door?
Yeah, that'd be the window right next to the door.
Okay, and that's a nice big window?
Big one, yes.
Okay, so I'd ask Spagg, they come from the left or the right?
Oh, just the whole street.
Straight on. Straight on. Right towards the Ambrosia.
Okay, straight on right towards the Ambrosia?
Yes.
Okay. Spagg, move aside.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And as Spagg moves aside, Marv's going to grab one of the... I would like to grab one of the curtains, one of the heavy curtains.
Yes.
And I would like to throw it over my shoulder and go through the window, trying to shatter glass. This is me attempting to cast spike growth.
Oh, fun!
Outside.
Sick.
So I want
That's
it to be
dope, dude.
I want it to be shards
Very
of
nice.
glass out,
Yes.
Out that way, and I'd like to try and angle it so it's partially covering the door, so there's a safe path out for people, but it would prevent things coming that way. So that'll be 2nd level spell slot, and once I get out and kind of shatter the glass, I'll kind of stand and take stock of what's going on, because I can see a whole lot better than Spagg can. So I want to take a good look at what's happening.
Perfect. Also, thank you, Initiative Order, for the raid. Welcome in, TIO folks. Thank you for having me here. So as you do that, you absolutely do that. Fantastic, beautiful spell casting. So you do that and you make your way outside, and you can roll me a perception check as well.
That's going to be a 28.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you absolutely see it. It is a horde of skeletons that are just pouring down the street. You can, with a 28, you would see that they are shambling and almost destroying everything in their path. They're moving. How fast do they move? Oh yeah, they move decently quickly. But it seems to be there's just a lot of them. So that is going to be treated from a mechanical perspective. That's a horde that you are seeing. You also, in the middle of it, you can pick out 3 of them that seem to have rifles. And then amidst the crowd, you also see 2 of them that are larger, holding pikes with small flags on them. The ones that have pikes seem to be ordering skeletons around and moving and maneuvering the horde, directing them as well as the riflers. So that's what you see with your 28.
Okay. I'm gonna call back over my shoulder. Spagg, I don't think this is the shot. There's a whole lot of bones out here. I'm gonna need some help. And just for your reference, the spike growth cast is a 20-foot radius. So.
Amazing. So that's pretty defensive of the door.
Yeah,
of
that's
the Ambrosia
the idea.
itself.
There's some damage that goes with that when things cross.
Amazing. Okay, great. Are you outside as of this point?
Oh yeah, no, I pushed myself all the way through.
Perfect.
That was part of the casting and shattering of the glass and everything like that. So I'm outside looking like a bit like a matador. I've got a velvet curtain over my shoulder at the moment.
I love it.
I'm a bit of a target. I'm a big man in a velvet curtain at the moment.
This is the fanciest that Marv has ever looked in his life.
It's very true.
Hass, what are you doing right now?
Well, Hass is a little bit more offended by Jetson leaving her so quickly than I think she wants to admit to herself.
Yes.
She really thought that man should have been in love with her by the end of their conversation. But...
He left the table with like a grin and a bit of a wink, and he ran out the door. Potentially into the fray. Who knows? Joking. Who knows where that man went?
Can she follow him?
You can try. Yeah, absolutely. So
a lover's quarrel, but just like I was still interrogating that man, and where the hell is he going?
Absolutely. So you run outside, and I'll allow you to make a perception check, please.
Okay. That is 15.
Okay, so you managed to catch a little bit of Jetson, or it could be Calloway. You're not sure from the back. They both look exactly the same, but you see them kind of run up the street towards the horde, and then you lose them in people who are just running everywhere. It's absolute chaos outside, but you do see that they run outside and away from the Ambrosia.
And is there still a clear path towards Galwood's bar from the Ambrosia?
There is. The Cup and Pony is probably about halfway across up the street. And the skeletons are pretty close to running past it. You with your perception check, you notice that the skeletons aren't really going into the buildings. They're just more like coming up the front of the street. There might be some stragglers, one or two, but it seems to be like they are just a wave, just like destroying everything in a straight path, coming directly for the Ambrosia.
Okay.
And your compatriots Spagg and Marv are outside. Wyatt is still not downstairs.
Oh, Spagg is still inside.
Oh, Spagg is still inside.
Spagg went to a window and then told move and just backed up.
Marv is outside. Spagg is inside.
I'm worried about my special jar.
Yes, as you should be.
I am going to try to make my way to the Cup and Pony without going on the main street area.
Okay. So I would say probably for this round, you will be able to get outside of the Ambrosia and a little bit up the street. That will put you probably about 30 feet in front of Marv, closer to where the skeletons are. You can, on your next turn, duck away. But the Cup and Pony, I would say probably when the skeletons move, they will be already at the Cup and Pony.
Yes, I'm gonna try to scoot behind the Cup and Pony.
Sounds good. Wyatt, what are you doing?
I pop my head around the window. Shit, is there a way onto the roof?
Tulip would, she runs over to the balcony, leaning her gun up against the side, and you watch as she like takes her hand and she slams it against the wall, and a small ladder kind of rolls down.
Thank you kindly, ma'am. I'm going to take a ladder up to the roof, and while I'm doing it, like as I'm walking, at any point that my hands are unoccupied, I'm like putting together something.
Yes,
as
absolutely.
Is it just like a hatch to the roof?
No, you're on the outside of the building, technically. So you're like...
Oh.
Yes. So her balcony's on the front of the Ambrosia. So you join her outside in the balcony, and there is a ladder up to like the flat of the roof.
Oh, excellent. So yeah, I get up on the roof, and I put it together this contraption that almost looks like the hammer of a gun sitting over like a wide, kind of flattish sphere.
Yeah.
And I seeing Marv like standing amongst all the spike glass, and I'll be like, Marv, light it up, and I'm gonna throw it in front of the horde.
Okay.
And as it lands, the hammer's gonna land, and a bunch of grease is gonna explode out from the contraption, and I'm gonna cast grease in front of this horde.
Amazing.
So I'm creating a 10-foot square centered right in front of them.
Wonderful. Okay. So it seems like we are about to get into a place where we will be moving into initiative. Spagg, since you are still inside, is there anything you would like to do? I'm giving you a last opportunity here. If there's anything else you would like to do.
I'd love to head to the bar.
Yeah.
And just grab one of them family-sized bottles of whiskey.
Yes.
And just take a little swig of that and just have that on my person.
Absolutely. You do so very easily. I will allow you to basically go to the bar, grab that, and make it back in your time. So you are.
Can I double fist it?
Yeah, why not?
Can I grab 2 family-sized bottles of whiskey?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Okay, so you have 2 whiskeys on your person. So you are inside the building still, at the window?
Yeah.
Okay. Hass has made her way outside. Slender Marv is outside. Wyatt is on the roof. Tulip is on the balcony just below you, Wyatt. And she is like ready, trained with her gun on this horde as well. Like she is very adept at this. Very, very skilled with a rifle. That's a beautiful gun. So I'm going to have everyone roll initiative, please.
Oh.
11.
Okay, great.
21.
One sec here.
There it is.
11 is Hass. Spagg is 21. Marv, what you got for me?
Big old nat 1, so a 5 total.
All right. Okay, and Wyatt, what you got?
With a nat 16, that's a 26.
Hey, yo. And for our special guest, can you just message that to me, please? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Okay, Wyatt, you are up first. You are perched up on the roof. What would you like? Having just thrown this grease down as kind of your preparatory action, what would you like to do?
I am going to again reach into my coat and I pull out all of these parts. My other handgun is sort of staying still, but the parts that I put together this thing that almost looks like a tripod with a sawn-off shotgun on the top, but like instead of barrels, it's like a canister.
Cool.
And then on the back is another hammer trigger, but it's attached to like a rotary gear that I wind. Like as my action, I wind it together and I throw it down in front of the grease. And then as my bonus action, I'm going to activate my eldritch cannon, the flamethrower version.
Oh, we love that.
And it's going to the gear is going to and the hammer's going to fall. And the gear continues to spin, but the hammer falls and then lifts as a gout of 15-foot cone of fire spreads out towards the zombie or the skeletons and the grease that's being spread out. So anything within the range has to make a DC 16 dexterity save.
How long does that last for?
It lasts.
Is it just one round?
No. I can use a bonus action to activate it.
Okay, great. Because I would say the skeleton horde's probably about a turn away.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. It would then just ignite. Oh no, I'd probably wait. I'd have Tulip shoot something instead for my bonus action.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, I just have it. It's there until I make a different one.
Okay, so so that was your action and bonus action?
No, my bonus action was to my bonus action would be to make it shoot.
Great.
But I'm just gonna yell. I'm gonna be like, Tulip, just shoot anything with a head.
All right, sounds good. So you watch as she trains her gun. I'm going to make a perception check to see if she can discern anything in the horde. All right. And then I'm going to have her. Oh, very, very good, darling. Okay, so you watch as she kind of moves the scope back. She turns the gun just a couple inches and you just hear a giant just go off. And Marv and Hass on the ground, you watch as one of the larger skeletons that you had seen with the pike just takes a bullet right in the forehead. And I'm going to roll damage for her.
And now, I know that you said a bonus action, but as an artificer, my bonus action is very spoken for. Could I forego one of my attacks? Because I love this mechanic and I want her to be shooting.
Yeah.
Could I forego one of my attacks, just like shoot once and be like,
absolutely,
yeah, cool.
absolutely.
I just want to make sure to utilize this, but then all of my eldritch cannons use bonus actions to operate. So I'm like
100%. So she manages to hit the bigger of the two commanders, essentially. And you watch as she takes half of this thing's face off. And Wyatt, you just hear the clink of a casing just fall as she looks up to you with a wink.
I might have to marry you. I'm just saying.
She laughs. All right, Spagg, it is your turn.
Okay, Spagg, being half blind in one eye and mostly blind in the other, with that -3 perception. Did he see that big fella get shot?
Roll me I'll allow you to roll me another perception check if you like.
Unlikely. That's a 3. He sees a crowd of people that
you see a giant horde. You just see the horde rolling.
I see people who mean me harm. It is unclear to Spagg whether they're skeletons. I don't know what the fuck that Delilah's talking about with the bones. This is just people.
Also, thanks for the raid, Luke of Astoria. Thank you.
Look at all these skinny folk. They gotta get some meat on their bones.
Yeah, they sure are mean and inarticulate.
Very
pale. And it's gonna take him a couple rounds to like get to that big grease pile and whatnot.
Yeah, you could make your way outside if you wanted to.
Absolutely not. They've set the whole thing of grease and spikes. Spagg loves it here. He's just gonna go break open the window and he's gonna take 2 shots with his eldritch rifle.
Absolutely. Please go ahead. So are you aiming essentially just randomly at the horde?
Absolutely. I'm aiming at the people who are aggressing towards us. I know how mob justice goes. There's a reason I'm not a professor anymore.
Go for it.
That's a 20.
I forgot that Spagg was a fucking professor. God damn it.
Both of those hit. Please roll your damage.
Excellent. D10s. I never get to roll these.
And that's piercing damage, correct?
Oh boy. That's a great question. No, I think it's
force. Great, got it.
And I doubt this will affect it, but he is using his boom boom rounds, and so anything that gets hit gets knocked back 10 feet. As I fucking
sick.
I would say, I mean, you don't see. I will say with the ability to get knocked back, you push a small portion of it back. Right. But it's kind of coming up in like this kind of like a U shape rather than a straight wall.
Love that.
Yes.
That's gonna be 21 points of force damage.
Ooh wee. Yeah.
We don't want no trouble.
You watch as the rounds that you fire through your eldritch for an eldritch blast seem to light up kind of both sides. And you watch as the spark and flame kind of rip through the front of them, doing quite a bit of damage to the front of this horde. Fantastic. It is now the horde's turn. It is now the riflers' turn. So you watch the riflers kind of make their way through the crowd. First one is going to take a shot at you, Hass, because you are out front. That is probably not going to hit you with that's a 7 to hit. That's not going to hit you. Nope. Okay. Second one's going to fire on you as well. That's a 10 to hit. Nope. So they're not going to hit you either. They're dead. What do they do? And dear God, I cannot seem to roll above a 6. So that is also a 10 to hit you. So they do fire the shots at you, but they go completely wide as you are able to adeptly move through them. Hass, it is now your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm going to keep on making my way to the Cup and Pony, avoiding the horde as much as I can, just to get there as fast as possible. I have a walking speed of 40.
Fun, wonderful. So with your dash, I would say you'd be able to kind of skirt around a side street. Side street? You're able to skirt around the back of the building. You are in a little alleyway, and you are now essentially at the back of the Cup and Pony.
Okay. Is there a back door?
You see one door, yes.
Okay.
And I would say if you would like, I would allow you to try and open it if you want.
Okay, I'm going to try to open it.
The door is locked.
Kick it down.
Can I kick it down?
I will say you can do that next turn since you took most of your turn to get here. So you are now standing at the back door of the establishment.
I think the lesson here is anytime you encounter a door, when you're time stressed, just assume it's locked and kick it. You know what? Anytime you encounter a door, open it with your foot.
Period.
Not use foot. If you're already running, just use that. Like you're already in motion. Just kind of like you want to go through the door. Yeah.
All right. It is now the Horde's turn. The Horde is going to take its movement and it is going to roll up the street towards you. It is now basically on the edge of the flame. Have you lit the flame?
The grease has not yet been lit. No.
The grease has not yet been lit. So they are about on their next turn. They will move through that grease, but they are approaching you and they are probably about, I would say they will use their full dash to get towards you. So they're on the edge of the grease.
Okay, so they're not on the grease yet, though.
No, not yet. They will go
the grease. No, the grease. They have to not. They slip. The spike growth is difficult terrain. Yeah, the grease makes them slip and fall.
Yes. All right. I will.
To establish, Marv put the spike growth like in the path of the Horde, right?
He put it at the edge of the Ambrosia.
Right. Okay.
The windows. Yeah, the windows of the Ambrosia.
Wyatt would have put the grease in front of that because lighting that on fire is too close to the.
I'm assuming that you actually put it in front of where Hass was standing. That's what I assumed.
Yeah, that works.
Because Hass and Marv were out, so I assumed you put it out in front of where they were standing, so as not to light them on fire.
No, absolutely.
I assumed
we appreciate it.
I am going to have our special guest make a strength check for me, please.
Oh, what?
Can you message that to me?
Ooh, so spicy, so mysterious.
One sec here. Okay, oh boy.
It's natural 20, I feel.
So I am going to narrate this, and then Adam, when I am done, can you pull us up to 6?
Oh, absolutely.
Pull us up to the other level.
Yeah,
okay. So the Horde has come up on the edge of where the church is. And as this happens, you hear a rumble in the sky and you watch as it starts to, the clouds seem to have rolled in and it darkens for a moment in the already dark night. Almost the lights of the street lanterns are really the only thing you see. A crack of lightning rings out in the distance, almost in time as you watch as a figure bursts through the church doors from the inside. And standing on the porch. Can you pull us up to 6, Adam?
Sure can.
Oh boy, the smell of ozone cuts through the air amidst the rot and decay of the corpses. You see a man who is heavily, heavily injured on the front steps. Tim, for mechanically wise, you will be starting with 50% of your hit points. And can you describe your character, please?
So you see a tall, slender, older man, much older, kind of short cropped hair. His collar is kind of torn open, and like he's wearing a long trench coat, black coat, and high boots. And you can see he is like, his face is pretty bloody, and you can see his shirt is all torn up and his jacket's open, and he's holding a large cane with a silver kind of top on the end of it, and a very thick mustache.
Amazing. So I will let you have your full turn as you burst through the doors.
I would come through and seeing all the skeletons. How far away from?
They're probably about 20 feet from you.
Okay, I would literally walk up to the edge of them and I would go, "Be gone, demon spawn." And I would like to use my action to channel divinity to turn undead. So
amazing.
The Horde to make a wisdom saving throw.
Absolutely. So as a crack of lightning comes down, you watch as Dr. Tam Clampton, none of you would know who he is at this point, yell. You see this man emerge and he just turns and faces the Horde, whereas everyone seems to be running away.
That man is a madman.
And you watch as something seems to just erupt from him as another crack of lightning comes down, and you watch as about half of the skeletons just blow completely backwards. Some of the Tam, you see this as you watch as some of there's these two bigger skeletons that seem to, like, when you do that, they hunker down, and the horde that is behind them seems fortified from their presence.
And I would look at them and go, "You called down the thunder."
Amazing. Welcome.
Can I ask a question here, Tim? Mm-hmm. Is apparently Tam Clampton is a doctor. Is he a doctor of any renown, or is it more of like a medical doctor? You know,
he's a doctor of theology.
Can I make a history check if in my
if Professor Spagg,
in my professorship, you know, I ever came across
absolutely you
Tam
can.
Clampton, PhD?
Absolutely, you can.
I'd love that. Fucking absolutely. I'm skills history. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good bonuses. 13.
You how far west have you been?
This, like, around here. I haven't made it to DC.
Okay.
Like I've been around here long enough to lose my East Coast accent. So couple decades.
And Tam, are you West Coast or East Coast?
I think Tam is pretty firmly West Coast.
Okay, so you would have heard,
like, from the south, originally from the south,
yes,
and then moved to the west.
How far south have you been, Spagg?
Oh, down in New Orleans. That is canonically where I got my gun from.
Then likely you would have heard of a Dr. Clampton
but
who
I wouldn't know him by sight.
But you wouldn't know him by sight. You would have heard that he gave his sermons were of renown, that people would have clamored to churches to hear him speak. And they described him, it was like a wave of thunder would be the like propheticism of his sermons.
Cool.
And with my bonus action, I would like to, he would like reach down and grab his cross, like it's fairly large silver cross, kiss it, and like do the sign of the cross and cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. So you, Tam, taking a moment with yourself, feel the utter resolve that you are the right man to completely stop this unholy horde in front of you. Yes, you can cast Shield of Faith on yourself. Fantastic. Perfect. Okay, so the skeleton commanders, it is now their go. The bigger one that Tulip clocked is gonna come over towards you, Tam. You see it kind of break its way through the front of the group, and it is going to make an attack against you with a pike. And that is going to be only a 10.
That does not hit.
Okay.
Just bat it down with my cannon.
For fuck's sake, that's only an 8.
No.
Skeletons can't hit for anything. And you watch as it just starts completely just trying to just wreck you, and you just manage to move sideways out of its attacks. The other commander, the not as big one, is going to come at you as well, and that is a natural 20 to hit you. So as you faint to one side, the other one is going to come in and try and skewer you right under the ribs.
Ooh.
So that is going to be and that is going to be 10. That's going to be 13 points of damage.
Okay.
13 points of piercing damage and 3 points of necrotic damage as you feel this wound open up on your side through your jacket. Can I take
a reaction?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to use my Wrath of the Storm.
Yes.
So as he does that, I hold up my cane and like utter a quick prayer. So when a creature within 5 feet of me that I can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to cause the creature to make a dexterity saving throw.
Amazing. So I will have this one make a dex saving throw. That is only going to be an 8. So tell me what happens.
Oh, so then you take 2d8 lightning damage.
Okay. So you see the rest of you see these 2 skeletons make their way over to the man on the steps, and as he lifts his cane, a crack of lightning comes down and just smokes the one in front of him.
So that's 2d8. So that's 7 points of lightning damage.
Amazing. The smell of ozone is almost overwhelming in front of you. And you're almost a bit shocked yourself that worked. But with the Lord at your side, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
The Lord should protect me and smite you down.
I'm obsessed with him.
Terrifying.
Perfect. Okay, Marv, it is now your turn. What would you like to do?
I mean, momentarily in awe of what's just happened in front of me, Marv will get his wits about him again. I kind of turn over his shoulder and call to Spagg, because you're still in the window there.
Oh, yeah.
You make sure folks stay inside, and if they choose to leave, you send them that way. And he's just going to point away from the shards of glass, like out to safety. And how far away is the good Dr. Clampton?
The good Dr. Clampton, well, the man on the porch at this point is probably, I'd say, about 60 feet from you.
Okay. I have 35 feet of movement. I'm going to make my way in that direction. Will I intersect with the horde at any point? Is there an
You
attack
will
to
meet
be
the
made?
grease first before you meet the horde.
It's the grease is what? 10? It's a 10
10
foot
foot
square?
cube, yeah.
10 foot cube.
Okay.
Or square, yeah.
10 foot
Will
square.
I- will
Also,
I-
Dat Network, thank you for the raid. Thank you so much for
Hello.
coming in, folks. I would say, with your dexterity, you can avoid.
I was going to say,
the
I'll
grease.
try and I know it's there, so I figured maybe I'll try and long jump it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I have enough movement to get over and across past it.
Perfect. Yeah, roll me either an athletics or acrobatics check, depending on how you'd like to do that.
Let's see. I'm going to roll an athletics check, because this
Amazing.
is just, I've seen a man just be stabbed and call down lightning. I'm heading in that direction because I need to make sure that person stays in this fight. That is going to be 9 and 7, 16.
Yeah, I'll say with decent adeptness, you are able to clear the grease, and you can use the rest of your movement if you're choosing to dash to make your way over to right up to the front of the horde, next to the man.
So
on
there's
the
nothing
steps.
within my kind of range.
I would say it would.
Attack here.
It depends on what you're using. If you're using a ranged attack, you could definitely hit something, but there's nothing immediately.
My bow is sitting in my room.
Your bow is in your room. I do recall. So no, but once essentially at the end of this movement, you are right up with the horde. So
Okay.
You would be in melee for next round.
Then I will use I will take the dash action. I will draw out 2 very large Bowie knives from under the back of my poncho, and I will dash as close as I can get to this gentleman.
I will say you get right up next to him.
I'll just kind of. How tall are you, Dr. Clampton?
He's pretty tall. He's probably like 6'6".
Okay, so you're a little shorter than me at 6'8". I'll just like
Everybody's
nod to you
tall.
and kind of look. Yeah, we're all super tall. Look kind of down and just kind of tip my head. Reverend, I don't know what you are. Just assume you have a cross, Reverend. And then I'll turn and face the horde, kind of shoulder to shoulder. I'm not going to get in front of him. I'm just going to stand like shoulder to shoulder.
Amazing. Fantastic. I love that. Okay, we are back to the top of the round. Wyatt, you are on the roof, having just threw down that grease. What would you like to do?
What in the fuck? The cog will turn and the hammer will fall and the
Amazing.
Spews forward a liquid that's ignited by a pilot light.
I would say that the horde is in range at this point, if you would like to roll damage for whatever that is.
Cool, yeah, with 15-foot cone. So they need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Wouldn't you know that a horde is pretty bad at that?
Yeah, I hope so.
That is going to be a 13.
I would love to see a horde roll a nat 20 and just in like synchronized cartwheels.
Yeah.
Carnival hordes.
Oh, fucking good damage. So they take 15 points of fire damage as
amazing
as the flamethrower is ignited and the grease is in the midst of that as well.
Perfect. On their next stint, they will have to roll the dex save for the grease.
Amazing. I look over at the priest. I'm like, for fuck's sake! I just start taking shots. There's riflemen as well, right?
Yes, there are 3 riflemen.
Two of the big skeleton lads, but they're over with Marv and the Reverend.
They are.
And then there's how many rifle?
3.
3. Okay, I'm going to take. I'm gonna yell down to Tulip and be like, I mean, at this point, you're just, you know what you're doing. I'm just going to use one of my attacks to have Tulip take a shot, and then I'm going to take a shot at one of the riflemen. I'm going to use sharpshooter. I'm going to
go ahead.
Sacrifice 5 to add 10 to my damage. It's a 25.
Boy,
hit.
howdy does that hit. Go ahead. I'm going to have her roll her shot as well. She's going to keep going, seeing that the commanders have come up right next to Marv and the Reverend. She's going to train her shot on the riflers as well.
Cool.
And she hits as well.
That's 23 points of damage from my first shot.
You complete the closest rifler to you. You completely knock it almost right in the sternum as half of the bones fall away from it, and it is limping forward, almost unable to hold its gun. You just decimated. It is still moving, but barely. Tulip takes a shot at the one slightly behind it with her long rifle, essentially a sniper rifle.
Cool.
And she smokes that one as well. Oh my gosh. So you watch as she hits one almost right in the top of where the collarbone connects with the sternum, and the skeleton just shatters. It completely shatters and crumples to the ground. So she has taken that one out.
I am then going to action surge and shoot the one that I've injured, and then shoot the last rifle one. And
amazing.
Both sharpshooters.
Okay.
One is a natural 20. Fuck, I didn't establish which was which is unfortunate. So
I will say you can roll a D6 or a D4.
Sure.
Odds you hit the first one with the natural 20, or evens you hit the other one.
As a 4. So
okay, fantastic. So you hit the other
with
one.
The nat 20.
Yep, great.
And I hit a 19 on the injured one.
That absolutely hits. You don't even have to roll damage. I'm assuming that your damage will be more than enough to finish this off. So your shot hits again, and it completely. Sorry, it's
like 32 for the uninjured one, and more than less than that, but 26 for the injured one.
So. As Tulip takes her shot and you hear the crack, you just those of you below just hear the pew, pew, pew of gunfire from above you, and the 3 riflers drop their guns and are down. So you have completely killed those 3 riflers. They leave their guns scattered and are subsumed by the horde.
And my reasoning because like my other handgun is my eldritch cannon, my force ballista. The reason why he's holding that, he's not using that, is because he's up on the roof, so he's far enough away that he has to like use his other hand to sight shots.
Amazing.
Because he's making really long shots off the roof.
And Tulip calls up with you. Well, you're not half bad with that.
I try.
As the two of you share a moment of mutual respect for each other.
He blushes. He blushes at he didn't blush once during the whole interaction of like flirting and stuff. As soon as she compliments his gun skills, he blushes, because that's like, the weight of his heart. Oh my.
Amazing. Hass, it is your turn. You are standing behind the back door of the Cup and Pony. What would you like to do?
Well, I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm going to kick down that fucking door.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can roll me either an athletics check, please.
That is a 24.
Oh gosh, you take the door almost off its hinges. As you just you kick the door and it slams open with such a force that some bottles that are behind on a shelf completely tumble to the ground. The door is open in front of you. What would you like to do?
Immediately to Slender Marv's room. I don't even look around, really.
Okay.
Just absolute tunnel vision, Slender Marv's room, to get the
jar.
The jar.
Okay, I will allow you with I'll allow you the door opening as a free action. It will take your movement and your action to dash all the way upstairs to his room. But that door is locked. But for the sake of your athleticism, you open that one as well. You are
right through it.
Yeah, you are now basically standing at the inside of Marv's room. You see his stuff. There is the jar of the Zolve inside a bigger jar. With his bag and a Bible on top of it, which is how he left it.
Yep.
The Zolve is still there.
The Zolve is still in the jar. It seems with the sound, you can hear the sound quite, it permeates the walls. They're just wood. And you see that it is shifting around almost frantically inside the jar, trying to get a sense of where the sound is coming from and what is happening around it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that is your turn. It is now the Horde's turn. They are going to move forward, and they are going to. I'm so sorry. I missed your turn, Spagg. Yes, go ahead.
All good. It wouldn't have affected anybody else. So, Slender Marv asked him to look after everyone in the establishment, make sure they don't walk through the fiery glass.
Yes.
Is there anyone else in the building still?
Everyone has gone backward.
Great job, Spagg.
The patrons seem to be heading their way upstairs, like to hide. You see that like the folks who work at the establishment are heading up to their rooms, their patrons with them. People seem to be piling out of a back entrance.
Great. I don't have to work too hard to bounce the front door.
You do not see Madame Zenziva at all. You don't see her at all.
Okay. Well, all 5'4" of Spagg Edison Evil is
short. Yes.
So from the front door, they've still got to make through the grease and then all the glass. Spagg would love to move so that he's against the door using his cover. But as a bonus action, he'd love to kick over those family-sized bottles of whiskey so they just start pouring out all their booze just right here in the doorway. And we'll just see what comes of that. And I would like to take 2 shots with my very special extra boomy shots to shoot. I see that the fire's like one side, but I imagine the Horde is wide enough.
Yes. It takes up the whole alley.
The two sides of the Horde that are on either side of the thing
to funnel them inward.
So try to funnel them over
smart as
well done. Yes, go ahead, roll those 2 shots.
All right, 2 shots. The one on the left is a 27 and the one on the right is a 19.
Absolutely, both of those hit. And I will say, because they are the booming is it agonizing blast that you've got?
I've got agonizing and pushing.
Amazing, fantastic. Yeah, so they funnel them backwards. So more of the Horde has been cut in quite down in size by the lightning that came down from a doctor, or when you watched as Dr. Clampton or the Reverend, the person who came outside the church came out.
That giant religious man.
Just so much religion happening in front of you from a very slender man. But the Horde does move, so more of it will have to hit the grease.
Exquisite. That'll be 24 points of force damage.
Amazing. So the shots that you send out almost ricochet off the buildings, just, and the impact moves the crowd of the Horde of skeletons sideways, and bones just start exploding from the sides. A lot of these skeletons are wearing some form of clothing. Some are older than others. Some are in hats and various attire. It seems like these crawled out of their coffins and made their way down the street.
The Ambrosia is closed. Christ, skeletons!
Fantastic. Tam, it is now the Horde's turn. So they are part of the Horde is going to move forward through the grease. So I am going to have them make a dexterity saving
throw. They
can't
can't move closer to me. The ones that were affected by the turn undead.
No, they cannot. So they are going to move past you, kind of around the other side. That is going to be for a dexterity save. That's going to be a 19.
That succeeds, so they do not fall prone.
Okay, great. So they manage, with the amount of shambling bones, they manage to find some purchase as they push their way through.
Does the lit grease do any damage to them?
It did damage them when you lit
when
it.
I shot the cool.
Yes, so I will have that stand as the damage they did for that. So part of the horde does move through, and it is going to take. I'm going to say it fills the space between. So it is right up on the steps of the Ambrosia. Spagg, you are staring down a horde, and Wyatt, you watch as it just starts to pour very closely to the front of the door. It does not, it's just out of melee with you. But Spagg is going to have a bucket of trouble next turn.
It still has to go through all them spikes, right?
It still does. It is just outside that as of this point. But Tam and Marv, they are going to come and hit you with your turn undead. Those half are the ones that went around, but the commanders seem to, because they're still around, seem to be enforcing the other half. So that part of the horde is going to come hit you. Okay. It's going to roll right into
my shield of faith dropped. I lost concentration.
You lost concentration. Okay.
I
faltered.
Strong.
So now that the horde is all up in your business, the horde does 2 attacks. As you just see a clamoring of short swords just come out towards you.
Is it one on each of us or one on?
They are, I'm going to say,
each.
probably one on each of you.
Are they big Bowie knives and machetes and shit, all fucking old and gross?
Super gross, very rusty, ornamental sabers that have been buried with people.
Yeah.
Just basically any type of anything that you would see as an effigy to someone on their death, death, comes out. A lot of them are rotten and disgusting, covered with ichor. So that is going to be a 15 to hit on you, Dr. Clampton.
That is my armor class.
Okay, fantastic. So that is going to do that's going to be 16 piercing damage.
He's looking rough.
Yes.
All right, when he dies,
he just spits out a bunch of blood.
Yes, because you were already injured when you came into this fight. And Marv, on you, that is going to be a 24 to hit you.
Yeah, that'll do.
That is going to be 10 points of piercing damage on you.
Any effects of tetanus from these rusted weapons?
Maybe not yet, but so that's the horde's go. And I'm going to roll to see if it can do something special. Oh, no, it's a D6. My apologies. You lucky bastards. It does not. All right. So that is the horde's turn. Tam, it is your go.
And the 2 commanders are still up in my
They are
business,
right up in your business.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to kneel down, holding my cane, and I'm going to, oh Lord, bring your vengeance through me. And I'm going to try to cast Call Lightning.
Okay, cool. So as you do this, Marv, you watch as the lightning and thunder has seemed to roll towards you. The booms and the cracks getting louder and louder. The smell of ozone is super, super thick around you. And you watch as Tam starts just moving he slams it into the ground, and as he lifts it up, a crack of lightning hits the top of the metal top of his cane as he brings it down in front, essentially splaying the lightning forward. And I will let you that's a dex save. What's the DC?
For any creature within 5 feet of that point. I would have held it far enough out that Slender Marv would have been
away from it.
Although it's up to you. But
I'm standing shoulder to shoulder.
Can you roll me a
with you,
D100, please?
This man is blessed with some hell of a luck.
God is vengeful. So let's see how we do here.
92.
Yeah, absolutely. You get out of the way. Yeah, the DC was 80. So that is going to be a dex save for is it the commander in front of you that you're pulling it down?
I think it's both commanders are within 5 feet of me, right?
Both
and
commanders.
Part of the horde.
Okay, so the first one just rolled an 11, so I'm assuming that's a failure. And the second one also failed. So go ahead and roll that damage.
Ooh, okay. And is the horde close enough? Because they came in heavy?
Why not? That is going to be for the horde. That's going to be a 19.
Okay, so that's a success. But because we're outside, would you say it's stormy conditions?
Yes, I would.
Storm rolled in, so I do an extra D10, and I'm going to use one of my second channel divinity for the day to use destructive wrath.
Yeah, go.
So I can choose to deal maximum damage instead of rolling for lightning or thunder damage. So I do
boy, howdy, do I
40
love
lightning
that
damage.
Sorry, 30 lightning damage.
40.
40.
It's an extra D10 because I'm outside.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. So you send this, this lightning just cracks down in front of you, and you watch as veins of it just through the horde, blowing like, I would say, another good 40% of it to smithereens. The commander in front of you takes a bolt of it right in the back and stumbles down onto one knee, the biggest commander. The second one also crumples down to the ground, not dead, but on last legs. Wow. It's impressive.
That's all I'm gonna do. That's my turn.
Wow, wonderful.
Hope I don't die.
Marv, it is your turn. What would you like to do? You're muted, I think.
No, I'm literally in shock of what's happening in front of me. This is.
It would be so loud. You're
unreasonable. But
I would say that you're experiencing the deafened condition right now. Yeah.
All right. Well, and then I'll say something at a volume that I'm not sure if I'm yelling or whispering.
Okay.
I got it from here, and I want to move into the horde, put myself between the Reverend and kind of the bulk of the horde.
Okay.
I want to be able to dispatch of the one commander that looks to be, the most charred and cracked. So I'd like to take a swing at that and see if I can finish that one off.
Go for it.
This will be a short sword attack. 13 plus. Oh yeah, 21.
Yeah,
hit.
Absolutely, you hit.
And it's hurt, so I get another D8 on that for being a Colossus Slayer. So
that's right. You are particularly good against hordes.
Yes. So that is a 14 points of damage on that first strike. Does that?
It does. You clear the head clean off of this as the rest of the bones disarticulate and fall to the ground.
Okay. And
that is the bigger commander.
Is there another commander around, or was that?
Right next to it, yes.
Okay, then I will take my second attack at that one.
Go for it.
So that's also going to be, that's a 22 this time.
Yeah, with the momentum swinging through of cutting through the vertebra of the first commander, you bring your sword or your Bowie knife completely down on the second one. Roll that damage.
Okay, so that's a 9.
You cleave you separate the collarbone from the neck and kind of slice straight through as the bones also fall to the ground.
Okay, and then I'm going to turn and I will use my bonus action to use my other Bowie knife.
Yes.
To make a third attack. That's not going to be good. That's an 8 to hit.
No, and you swing out towards the horde in front of you, and the shambling just kind of seems to move. It is quite decimated at this point, but there seems to be enough movement and dexterity from the group to avoid your slice. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I would like to use whatever movement I have left to put myself in the midst of this to try and draw as much of their attention as possible.
So interpose yourself between Tam and the horde.
If that means putting myself in the middle of the horde, I will do that.
Okay, I'm going to have you roll an athletics check to see if you can push your way into this this mass.
It'll be a 15.
Yeah, I'll say that's enough with the kind of horde on its last legs as you manage to almost shove Clampton behind you and interpose your broader frame and just a touch taller in front of him. So that will be your turn. We are back to the top of the order, Wyatt.
So the horde is like around my flamethrower, right?
Yes, you watch as like the horde seems quite decimated at this point. It is moving. It is just about outside. What is left of it is outside of the spike growth, outside of the Ambrosia, making its way towards Spagg. And it is also kind of surrounded Marv and the figure who just outside of the church.
So the direction is pointing. Oh, sorry. Please go, Marv.
Just quickly, for what it's worth, I lost concentration on that spike growth, so it's pretty. It looks dangerous, maybe. But it's not actually doing anything anymore.
Sounds
the concentration is gone.
The cone, because being able to make an operational flamethrower in like the West is a stretch as is, but having it be autonomous and being able to turn its like direction,
I would say it's not able to.
No,
turn it off.
like absolutely not. But would any of the horde be in that cone still?
I would say yeah. It's probably big enough to. It's a horde. It's a gargantuan creature.
Cool.
A gargantuan entity. So yes,
the wound up cog will once more turn, and the hammer will fall. And a gout of flame is going to erupt.
That dex save?
As a dex save for the horde.
I have a question. Am I in that space?
No, you're not. This is on the other side of the street. That is going to fail.
Cool. That is like a 9. 11 points of fire damage as chemical
more
fire
of the you watch as the clothing that these skeletons are wearing is lighting up and starting to, with the immense heat generated by your flamethrower, it is starting to melt the white hot flame is starting to melt part of the bone or whatever, flesh and hair. It stinks. It is disgusting. The smell is awful outside. It smells like rotting cooking flesh.
Amazing. And then so horde is left, and there's
no, the commanders are both down. The riflers are
just
gone.
The horde.
It is just the horde that
so
is
I'm
left.
just going to fan the hammer because I feel like he would shoot multiple things, but we'll do it as one shot. And then I'll yell down to Tulip to take her shot as well. That is a natural 19. So that's a Wyatt crit.
Amazing. Wonderful. Roll that damage.
And sharpshooter, so 26 to hit.
Perfect. Fantastic. Tulip kind of looks for a second, and you just hear her just go, fuck. As her gun jams.
Ooh.
So she's going to have to take a second to...
and I forgot last round, because it's been a minute since we played this campaign. I have the Piercer feat, so when I crit, I do an extra D10.
Oh, hell.
So I'm going to roll...
So the rest of you on the ground hear this huge shot just ring out from the top of the roof of the Ambrosia.
40 points of piercing damage as I just like crack, 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 crack. My last 3 bullets like just around.
As the bullets ring out of your guns, they spray through the front of the crowd, and it is just enough like force to knock the front ones backward, and you see bones being dislodged, and with that force it almost dominoes through the back of the horde as everything seems to just fall apart. And everything hits the ground as thunder in the distance.
And I pop the cartridge of my handgun. I fill it back up again. I'm ready to go. Y'all good down there?
Yeah.
He just coughs up more blood.
I'll call out. We're gonna need some medical attention over this way.
Kind of pushes himself up onto his cane.
Yeah, I'll go throw if you'll accept it. I'll put your arm over my shoulder and help carry you across the way.
Bless you, child.
I'm assuming that I was close enough to hear the gunshots, but not hear the fact the horde is done, or am I like aware?
You hear the rumbling stop, and technically it would have been your turn after this, so you would have been able to. Is there anything that you would like to do in this room while you're here?
I wanted to grab the jar because I'm no longer comfortable with leaving it in this room.
Yeah.
Does Slender Marv have any sort of backpack in the room?
He does. There's a pack on top of the jar.
Okay, I'm going to take my
Bible
shawl.
on the jar, pack on top of the Bible, and my bow's in the corner.
I'm going to wrap my shawl around the jar and put it in his backpack.
Okay.
Not with the Bible.
Okay. As you approach...
And I'm going to take his bow because I think that Marv will probably want it. And we might not have a chance to come back.
As you approach the jar, you when you open the door, you see the jar swirling frantically, as I described last time. But the second you walk in, it stops. and almost orients itself directly towards you. And as you walk over to it, do you look in the jar at all, or do you just wrap it up in your shawl?
I think I looked at it. I has looked at it.
Okay. Do you bend? It's on the ground. Do you pick it up to your face, or do you bend down?
I bend down.
As you bend down, you watch as the small bit, well, it's a decent, actually, it's about half of the jar now of this silvery green blue liquid almost moves itself up vertically. So it is vertically taking up half the jar rather than horizontally taking up half the jar. And you watch as an impression of your face makes its way through the edge of the jar. And it's not menacing. It's actually, you're smiling in the liquid. And it's still with an impression of your smiling face.
I wrap it up.
As you wrap it up, you hear, it's almost like the jar goes back to frantically spinning again before you tuck it in Marv's bag. And you can make your way back to the group.
I'm going to check first Galwood's office.
Okay. All right. So you go over to Galwood's office. The door is locked.
It's chaos. I'm going to kick it down.
Okay. Roll me an athletics check to kick in the door.
Where? That is a 15.
Kicks all the doors.
Sorry?
A 15.
A 15. You give a good hard kick with your foot and the door does not budge.
Is there any, like, after I kick it, is there any sound response in the cup and pony?
No.
I'm gonna like try to shoulder it.
I mean, like downstairs, it looks like people have hastily left.
Okay.
You see meals uneaten, drinks half poured, and Cranny's cloths that you would have seen him using are left on the bar.
I'm gonna start making my way out, but just kind of like, I'm gonna yell into the cup and pony and make it known like who is there, so that they don't think it's like a skeleton human that was trying to kick down the door. Okay. So if anyone was there, presumably they would come out and make themselves.
You hear no response from behind the door.
Okay. But I'll make my way out through the front door.
Great. So you walk out the front door of the cup and pony, and you have the jar with you as you make your way through the just like graveyard, a wasteland of bones in front of you. You're having to kick things aside as you walk through, as you see your friends probably about like 60 feet away from you. You see Marv has a man over his shoulder.
I'm happy with my decision to get the jar, but I am very disappointed I didn't get to kill things. And start walking further.
Okay. Is there anything else you folks would you like to reconvene at a specific place?
I'll put my boots back on.
So you climb down and back into the room.
Yeah.
So Tulip comes back inside and she leans the rifle up against the table. You okay?
Yeah, I'm starting to dislike this town, but at least you're here, so, good and bad.
It grows on you. She looks a bit shaken, but with like her hand is still clutched on her gun, and it seems like with the gun in place, she seems a bit more steady.
Keep that close, yeah?
It's never far.
Good. I want to go see my friends, make sure no one's dead.
As you do, as you walk away from her, she grabs your belt loop, she pulls you back, and she kisses you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then she pushes you out the door.
Yep. I walk down the stairs.
You hear her laughing.
It's been a weird day, folks. This has been a weird day. Holy shit.
Is everyone gathered around?
You'd probably meet in the middle, like outside of the Ambrosia, unless Spagg has something to say about that.
Yes, if the whole bar is clear, you know, all the fucking zombies are dead. Spagg looks at the bar and says, just the two of us. And he's going to make his way over to the bar and just... he'd just love to take one of the fancy bottles of whiskey, you know, one of the nice top of shelf things, and just search for mystery powders.
Mystery powders?
Are there any mystery powders?
I think we're starting to learn how Spagg lost tenure. Like,
yeah, okay. Roll me an investigation check. I will say, yeah, there's going to be a penalty to it because you were looking specifically for mystery powders.
If they're labeled, I don't want to look at them. No, you know, any sort of fun. No, just the mystery powder. Okay. I can get the other shit on the street. I'm not worried about that.
Yes, there is still the general store that you have not visited.
18.
Yes. Okay. You dig below the bar, and you see a couple things down there. Mm-hmm. You see a very large knife. That is kind of hooked under there, as well as a bat that is under the bar. You also see a place
released the bat. You should be free, friend.
Very funny. But you also see there was a place where something else was hooked that is missing. There is another hook there where you're presuming another weapon that is gone. You also see some cans of like wood stain for the bar to keep it shiny, I suppose. And you see one unlabeled jar kind of around where ingredients would be, like around like alcoholic ingredients. There's one unlabeled jar there, and you see a small jar down near where the wood stain is as well, both unlabeled.
Powders inside, or
both of them are stoppered.
Dry.
So you'd have to open them, but there is powders in both. One
cans, and we'll become better acquainted later.
Okay, so yes, you have a jar that contains something that is green, like a green powder inside, and you also have a brown powder.
Ooh, and that's the small one.
The small one is the green. The larger one is larger one is the green. Smaller one is the brown.
Good. All right, and I will reconvene.
Okay. So yeah, you all reconvene outside of the front of the Ambrosia.
As everyone is standing around, Tam once again falls to his knees and begins to pray. I would like to cast Prayer of Healing.
Okay. Tell me about your prayer of healing?
As he kind of kneels down, you see he kind of like raises up one hand, like, Lord, protect these folk. There is much work to be done.
Okay. Yeah, you can go for it. And as you stand around the Reverend, you feel this. Are any of you religious? I know Wyatt has talked a bit about demons and devils and God. Are any of you religious at all?
Hassassa's spiritual.
Okay. Yes, because she does have that kind of sense of occultism and that connection with Geraldine that we explored last time. So while none of you, when was the last time you all went to church?
I feel like Wyatt's relationship to religion was his dad was like incredibly like, you know, those that archetypical like fire and hailstorm, and so he kind of like that pushed him away from it, but he believes in all of it because he can't not because of just the way he was brought up. Okay, but, like he doesn't have a close relationship to it.
Okay, so how old were you the last time you went to church?
Oh, like 15. Then he left home to like make his own life.
Okay, Marv and Spagg and Hass, when was the last time you went to church, if ever?
I was 23. That would have been 7 years ago now.
Okay, so it's been 7 years. Marv?
Closest I've been to a church in most of my life is probably when I went and got the Reverend.
Okay. Spagg?
Spagg was raised right. It's just, back on the campus, we'd have Sunday sermons, but that hasn't been for a couple of decades now. He did briefly join an experimental secular experiential cult, which was something of a religion, but that was more of imagining one's body as a temple and everyone else's. So in a sense, he's been to church quite often.
Right.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, I love Professor B-Ball so much. So as Dr. Clampton kneels down, this man that none of you know, that obviously seems to wield some very powerful connection to God, you feel this wave of like hope wash over you, that even though you have no idea what you just experienced, that things are going to be, at least for the moment, okay. And you all heal how many points?
22 points.
22 points of healing.
Very nice.
Seems to bolster your resolve.
Can I ask, what condition is the Reverend, as I will continue to call him till I know his actual name? What kind of condition is he looking in right now?
He looks gaunt. His eyes are sunken in. He looks like he hasn't had a proper meal in a very long time. He is pale. You see bruises, yellowed, that they had been that way for a while, across his face. His clothes are covered in blood. Okay. Absolutely covered, and he looks to be nursing an injury or two.
I'd like to take a knee next to the Reverend and just put my hand kind of on his shoulder, gingerly, lightly. Say, with all due respect, Reverend, looks like God might need a little help in your case. And I want to look to I'll put my hand out to the group, kind of indicating, because we have a couple of healing potions, if I'm not mistaken.
You've got 2 salves and a tonic. The tonic being the greater of those 2.
So I would like to, if one of y'all has the tonic from Geraldine.
Yeah,
I think this would make appropriate use.
I'll pass it over. Absolutely.
And I'll give it to the Reverend, and it's your choice, man of faith, but a little modern medicine can go a ways.
Thank you for your generosity. Takes a big swig.
And you heal, and I believe that one is 2d4 plus 4. So you heal. I rolled it for you. It's another 10 points.
Nice.
As you feel this like very, very alcoholic.
Oh, was that alcohol?
That the 44 plus 4? Or? I think it was the 2d4 plus 2 ones with the.
Let me just double check what the ones that Geraldine gave you here.
Here we go. I did not realize that
it's 2d4 plus 4.
Okay. Alcohol. I should not have imbibed, but
it's very much like a herbally kind of alcohol.
Any kind of alcohol, you would have been like, "Oh no, that's a sin." Well, that's a sin. I'm gonna have to confess that later. What are you folks doing here? I'm sorry. I should introduce myself. Sorry, it is. I have been locked in a basement for some time. And he stands up and he kind of like tries to fix himself up as best he can. He kind of rebuttons his shirt. I'm the Reverend Dr. Tam Clampton.
And you folks would know that this is the Reverend that you had heard deserted Clementine 3 weeks ago. After the cave-in.
Can we clarify that you said you were locked in a basement? Like, how'd that happen?
Well, it's a bit of a tale, but I will give you the short version, as it does seem like we may be pressed for time. I was brought here to care for the Reverend Moynihan, previous Reverend of the church, who was dying. And after he passed, I did take up residency for the congregation, whom I had grown fond of. And I had been here quite some time. But I did learn a dark secret as the Reverend passed on his deathbed, he wished to confess something to me. That the sheriff, Severin, who had taken over for Pal, a dear friend of mine, the Sheriff Severin had framed Pal. It appears as though Severin's conscience got the best of him, and he did confess this to Moynihan, and then Moynihan confessed it to me. Pal was wrongfully imprisoned.
Can I ask, if it's not too personal, how did Moynihan die?
I believe he had some kind of tumor-based illness riddled his body.
Right, so it wasn't like poison or anything? Like the sheriff didn't, maybe have some regrets about...
I can't be sure, but he did not take a turn for the better as I cared for him. The tumors seemed to grow and expand.
So I've been looking for excuses to draw irons against the sheriff since I got here, so...
Yes, well, it was not only him, but the Duprees.
That doesn't surprise me.
Whom I confronted to try to sway them to take up the case against the sheriff. Turns out they were in league. And as I spoke to them in the church, well, I encouraged them and told them that God would forgive them. But they spat upon my God, and they attacked me, and I held my own. I did get a few licks in myself, but it was strange. Their bodies did not respond. I have taken up arms several times over the course of my life, and I know the sound of the sound my cane makes when it hits someone, and the aftermath. And these two boys, it was almost as if their flesh tried to absorb my cane. It's disgusting.
Almost like they were boneless?
You could say that. I did not hear any bones breaking. And they bested me and locked me up in the church basement, left me for dead.
I'm sorry, Sorry, please, Spagg. You finish your thought. I just want. I'm gonna check on something. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go upstairs to where Tulip was.
Okay. We'll get to that in a moment. Spagg, go ahead.
That's really awful news. Because Dahlia, the very lovely lady with the wonderful personality, she's definitely in league with she said some crazy shit about y'all want bones, have some bones, and I was like, oh, I've played, punch and tickle before. Okay, but then I realized, then all the skeletons arrived. So Dahlia is very much in the skeleton business, and we already didn't like. If the boneless take issue with Pal, I think that's the first place we ought to go. Got to get our pal. Right?
Yeah. We should find him and set him free.
Are we outside right now or in the church?
You're at basically outside on the porch of the Ambrosia. Everyone has scattered. It's probably, I would say, around almost midnight at this point. And you see very few people. There seem to be some people who are injured up the street. People seem to be, now that the cacophony has died down, coming out to help the people who have been, of the townspeople who have been injured. You see some people start peeking out of the rooms of the Ambrosia, some patrons filing in from, either a cellar or something.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to go over to Dr. Tam and take the backpack off my back and just say, well, now it's time for us to get you up to speed. And I try to shift away my shawl a little bit to show him in the backpack still, because I don't want to take it out and get other people seeing it. Try to show him my special jar.
So in the jar, Tam, you see this silver blue substance that seems to be like frantically swirling, trying to find some purchase with light or some input. It seems to have like a very kind of feral sentience to it. And you can roll me, I will say, a history check with disadvantage. You've taken some big hits to your noggin. So we'll see if you can remember what you want to remember.
History check with concussion.
Yes. Let's roll for concussion.
That's only a 9.
Yeah, it's weird.
That is strange indeed. I have never seen anything like it, nor read any books that mention it.
This is what's intoxicating the people to want to depart from their bounds.
That is troubling indeed. Is it some kind of mercury? Quicksilver?
It has a voice. It's something in itself.
It is.
Spagg knows it. Spagg and Slender Marv know it better than I do.
Yeah.
Quite amicable. It's got decent manners. I mean, just like get rid of your bones. Honestly, it's a pretty good pitch.
Do you say the word Shoth at any point?
I haven't said it yet.
You haven't said it. Okay.
My turret is automated, so just occasionally during this conversation, it just goes.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! I kick it over.
Great. Yeah, you kick it.
Please don't take the Lord's name in vain.
While this is going on, once the Reverend is kind of settled and talking is happening, as folks are starting to move out and stuff. Marv would like to get up and head over to the hoard where it was.
Yes.
And pick through, looking for one, if not all, of the rifles.
Okay.
And to see what those are all about. And if I heard correctly, you mentioned that the commanders there with the pikes, there was some sort of banner or something associated with them. I'd like to see if that's not been torched away.
Okay, great.
Get that as well.
You can make an investigation check for me.
All right.
We'll have one stand for all of it.
Cool. Investigation. It's going to be, okay, nice. 18.
Okay. So the rifles themselves look to be very shoddily held together, old, super old, as if they were buried with the skeletons themselves. Some of them look more ornate than actually functional. And now that they have been kind of crushed under this giant hoard, most of them are very far in disrepair. Hold on one sec. Yeah, 2 of them almost fall apart as you pick them up. One of them seems salvageable, but like, why would you? It seems like it is completely unusable.
Okay. There's nothing of note on there, no emblems or okay. That's more what I was looking for, less functioning
The
firearms.
banners, however, seem to have been very crudely affixed to these long pikes that seem to almost have been ripped out of the ground. And you look to them, they seem to be part of the fence that surrounded the graveyard. And these flags were crudely tied to them. And you see a logo on them that says FB. It's like a very flourished F.
Fluid bones.
Fleur de bones, is that what we're going with?
No, it's just an F and a B, and on a kind of like a navy blue background. And that's it's pretty rotten. Most of them are pretty rotten.
Okay.
It's time for us to F these skeletons in the B, if you know what I mean.
I'll pocket the banner to bring back. The other thing that I'd like to do while I'm over there is, and this is more just fueling one of my class abilities.
Yes.
So I have primeval awareness as a ranger, which allows me to kind of track undead amongst them. So I'd like to take a moment to study what I can find of the trails and tracks, just any markings that seem to be more unique than I would know otherwise. maybe taking a moment to look at some foot bones and things like that.
Sure. So
as Slender Marv is doing this, I'm just going to be continuing to get Dr. Tam up to speed.
Awesome. Great. So you regale him with everything that you have experienced in town so far. Tam, you would know based on kind of like what Hass is telling you, you estimate you've been out for about 3 weeks. You were in and out of consciousness over the last couple days, but you have been, the cave-in happened. And as she's talking to you about the cave-in and the timeline that Galwood, you're putting pieces together that
so I was out before the cave-in happened?
No, about like a day or two after.
Right. Okay.
You were working, you were, meeting with grieving parishioners, and you couldn't take it anymore, with needing to confront the Duprees about what you knew. And that was when the attack happened against you. And you've been in the basement ever since. So Marv, as you're looking through, there are footprints everywhere of various boots and sizes, some rotten. You see a lot of like skeletal foot markings in the ground. You don't really see anything that would indicate, that would differentiate anything from anything else. Nothing that would signify that some of them broke off into other places. It just seems like they mostly stayed together as a clump. There is destruction amongst the street, windows smashed, porches, wood ripped away, but it doesn't seem like any broke off out of the pack.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as I'm walking back after that, it's gonna kind of finally settle on me that I saw the deputies leave the Ambrosia.
Yes.
And I haven't seen them since.
You have not.
So that's just a thought that's gonna strike me, and when I come back, I'm gonna ask, did it? And I'll be, looking at Hass in specific because I knew that you were sitting with them. Now, did anybody see where those Dupree boys went?
I tried to follow them. Haven't met many people that are too fast for me, but they just got lost in the horde. It seemed like they were able to run just straight through.
Tim, did you have something?
Yeah, after learning about the kind of the losing your bones thing, would I be able to take a look at the horde and see if there's any like flesh left on the bones, or are they all fleshless bones?
You would see that there is some, they are all in various stages of decay. They look like they came from, being a man of the cloth. You often attend many funerals, and you would have a sense that a lot of these are from the oldest part of the graveyard, rather than the brand new one.
Such desecration.
Wyatt, you went upstairs to the Ambrosia.
Hey, Tulip, real quick. I'm sorry to bother you. I just want to put my mind at ease. Could you real quick just crack your knuckles for me?
What do you mean, crack my knuckles?
Weird request, I know. Humor me.
All right.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's great. If you meet new people or anyone tries to talk to you, just make sure they got bones, because and I ain't guarantee anymore apparently, and I'm losing my goddamn mind. So I'm gonna go back to my friends. I hear my chart go. Oh fuck! I gotta deal with that shit.
I'm gonna come downstairs with you. I should make sure that everyone's all right.
Bring your gun.
I'm gonna leave it up here.
Well, okay.
It should be fine. And she taps the inside of her boots that she have now put on, and you see the handle of a dagger on the inside of her boots.
Cool. I'm gonna take out a boot pistol, one of those really tiny little one-shot handguns. Yeah. I'm just gonna hand it to him and be like, just in case you need to be far away, but you can consider that yours.
She looks at you. She goes, "You worried about me, Wyatt?"
I'm worried about everyone, but I mean, yeah, a lot's going on lately, and I just, you're a rare kind of person, and you also have bones, which is real nice in this climate. I got my little contraption's gonna be shooting flame pretty much until I stop it, so I should deal with that before anything gets burnt down.
All right.
I'm gonna run out, disarm the thing.
She leaves the door as well, and she starts knocking on doors as she makes her way around upstairs.
Remember to ask if they got bones. Make them crack their knuckles, or like feel their wrists or something.
I will.
Cool.
I will. If you see Madame Zanziva, can you send her over to me?
I sure can, yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, so how we all doing? What's the verdict?
Good
As
to
you
see
make your way back
Wyatt.
downstairs.
I know you wanted to shoot those Dupree boys. We're gonna bust the old sheriff out.
Great.
Probably kill some people on the way. And here's the kicker: they're probably not people.
Honestly, this is balancing out my day. There was good, and then there was a skeleton horde. Now we're gonna go shoot some idiots, and that's good. I'm feeling like the scale's leaning more towards good today, but it's been a weird day.
So what would you like to do as you stand outside the Ambrosia?
To the jailhouse?
I will really quickly grab the rifles that you talked about that were like, why bother salvaging? Just for parts. Because like Wyatt is a gunsmith. He just like grabs the hammer. He grabs like anything.
There's one of them that has some functional parts.
He'll take like any of the like the barreling. He just takes anything that he can like maybe later on turn into a different contraption.
Sure.
Just like
I would say you have a couple parts that will need to be fixed before you can use them for anything. Yeah.
Cool.
It will take some tinkering time to do that.
Okay.
I would like to travel with all of you. I believe there is safety in numbers, and I would like to see this through to the end.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Did anyone get hurt? Anyone get shot? Anyone like bleeding internally that we need to know about? Don't keep that stuff to yourself. Listen.
If we have an hour, I would love to lie down, but I can press ahead.
Well, no, I think before we go pick a fight, maybe we constitute ourselves and
a meal would be lovely.
I feel like everyone just scattered. If the whole thing is that Pal is guarded by those boys, if ever there was a time to do it, is in all the chaos and such. We are doing crime, technically speaking. Man's law, not God's law. You know.
Yeah, how does God feel about us putting some lead between their eyes?
Well, it seems that these folks may not, in fact, be mortal men. So I believe God may look the other way.
Cool. I just want to say,
regardless, I do not know. His will just works through me.
I just want to say, Reverend, I've been saying from the start, demons. So I feel like I was maybe right off the top there.
Certainly, the undead skeletons would indicate some kind of evil presence.
Yeah.
So you're making your way over to the sheriff's
office. Let's go shoot some folks, yeah.
Let's mosey.
Okay. As you walk over through towards the sheriff's office, you see it's not far from where you are. Nothing is far in Clementine. You see that inside the lights are off and the door is closed. And that is where we are going to take a quick break before we get into this. We will be back in a tight 8. So reload your pistols, grab yourself a whiskey, and we will be back shortly.
I'm excited to break down more doors.
More doors!
Hi guys, it's me, Adam, and I'm here to talk to you about the sponsor for tonight's episode, Legendcraft. Legendcraft is a Canadian woodworking company that makes D&D and tabletop gaming tables and accessories. They are a couple of passionate crafters that create items that will instantly become a highlight of any tabletop or RPG player's game night. An absolute favourite of mine is the Mountain King board gaming table. This table is bonkers cool, looking like it is straight out of a Dwarven King's Hall. It's really unlike anything I've ever seen. We feel really good about endorsing this Canadian business that brings so much passion into something we care so deeply about. So head over to their Instagram at legendcraft.ca to have a look at what they're making and let them know that Blackwater sent you. And if any of you fall in love with any of their amazing products, you can go to their website and use the promo code Blackwater for 5% off. It supports a Canadian business and also helps support our stream in this crazy D&D game we love. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Back. Oh my gosh, we are back. I popped the link for the D&D Friends server in the chat for those of you who are still watching. If you want to get more D&D in your life, please go join the Friends server where Erik is one of the mods. They run many games. Yes, recently you sent me some details, Erik, about a one-shot that someone ran based on, was it Left Twins story?
Yes, it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Arf and Shooty Hands.
Arf and Shooty Hands. Oh boy, do I love that.
So funny.
Yeah. So
So
please go join the D&D Friends server and go join our Discord server, which our wonderful mods have popped in the chat. Okay, so we are back as you have made your way over to the sheriff's office. You see that the doors are closed, lights are off, and the front door is closed.
Hey, Hass, I bet that door is locked.
I'm gonna walk over to the door.
Yes.
And not check if it's locked this time, because why waste the time? And try to kick it down.
I think that's what we call character growth. So you're welcome to kick the door down if you would like to. Go ahead.
While Hass checks.
That is an unnatural 20.
Oh, yes. 20. You give the door a really good boot, and it stays closed, but it seems you might have loosened the lock on it.
Okay, after
this door looks like there's like it might look like a more enforced door than a normal wood one.
If you'll allow it, I'll try to get a little fancy with it, and as I'm bringing my other leg down, do like a kind of like jump and kick onto the other foot.
Before Haas does that, can I kind of put my hand on their shoulder and just say, like, may the Lord guide you?
Is that you casting guidance?
Yes.
And
Oh, wonderful.
Tam do that, I go like, and just know that Hedonus Fleshquake walks with you too. And I pull out one of my teeth and offer it to Hass to take. It'll help.
I'm sorry, can you say what that other thing was for me as Emma again?
Hedonus Fleshquake. Yes, Dr. Tam, Reverend Tam, I'm a man of faith myself.
This is all happening as I'm switching feet.
Yeah. Petty sorcerer of the Church of Hedonus Fleshquake.
Amazing.
Do you take the tooth?
No. Oh, I take it.
Oh, yeah. Then you get 2d4 added.
Yes, you can add 2d4 to this roll to break down the door. Yeah, go ahead.
As Hass is doing this, Wyatt is checking.
Are you going to add a d4 there as well? Or like...
No, I just want to establish this before, because Wyatt is checking his other gun and just like making sure everything's going. And I'm essentially mechanically spending a spell slot to create my eldritch cannon as my other handgun so that I have both now. My force ballista.
And
33. Yeah.
As all this is going, no. While this noise is happening, I'd like to take the distraction to kind of slip off to the side of the building.
Okay.
And make my way around to see if there's another entrance in the back or something to try and head that way. So I will split off from front door.
So essentially just
it's being,
do I notice Marv? Does Marv try to slip away from the group, or would like?
No. This is more just you guys are making noise. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity as it presents itself. You guys would see me kind of dip off to the side, and I'll just kind of give you one of those.
I'll like nod to see if you want backup for me to come with you, because like that Wyatt's pretty stealthy as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
I'll slip out with Marv as well.
Oh, also Shadow Tiger. That's very funny in the chat. Thank you so much. You can both roll stealth checks, please.
I didn't hear it. Read me the
Shadow Tiger says,
Kale's
I believe
favorite book has a chapter devoted to flesh
quakes.
Ugh.
Oh, I love this community so much. What's your stealth rolls, my dears?
Weird to have a low stealth. Well, not low, but it's different stealth roll to fit in.
Different.
It's an 18.
An 18, okay,
it's under 20. What is even the point?
Okay, yeah, you feel pretty. It is night, so you're able to blend a little bit more into the darkness. There's no lanterns around this building. Why would there be? It's the sheriff office. Who's going to break into the sheriff's office? So as you with Hass, you both Spagg and Tam, as you simultaneously place a hand on her shoulder and offer her this tooth. She grabs the tooth as she is just like completely like
you
just
have
like
to ingest it. You have to, yeah. You
pops the tooth in her mouth, crunching down on it, and then with this,
down on the tooth.
You feel, you watch as Hass's eyes, your pupils just. They go very, very tiny, as Spagg's did when you saw him put his teeth in the morning. And you, with a burst of adrenaline, kick through the door. The door is now open in front of you. And boy, howdy, was that a loud sound on the front of the building.
Is that just like a pure capsule of cocaine or something, Sean? Like,
I would never traffic in something as plebeian as cocaine.
Good God. Again, we're finding deeper and deeper layers as to why Spagg lost tenure.
He's such a layered being. I love him.
I won't, it's actionable and at the table, but I will simply inform you of Spagg's stats. Spagg was a professor with a +0 in intelligence, but a +5 in charisma.
Yes.
So you tell me.
Yeah.
Very well liked. Very well liked. We've all met those props. So as you bite down on this tooth, Hass, you feel this just kind of surge for a moment as you like can feel every like muscle fiber in your body firing on cylinders all at the same time.
I love all of them.
Yes. Amazing. And you go in and you go inside. And it is dark inside. You don't see anybody in there. It's the middle of the night.
Are there any lanterns?
There would be like an oil lantern or two on the sheriff's desk. Yeah, you don't see anybody in this part of the office particularly. Clementine is a very small town with very little crime. As far as you've known so far.
I'll light one of the oil lanterns to get a better look around.
Great, you take it. Yeah.
Can I light the other one casting light?
Absolutely. Yes.
Just holding a lantern.
Yeah, you're just holding a lantern. Absolutely. Yeah. You take the lanterns around. The office is empty. There is a door that leads through to where the rest of you you all would all know this. That's where the jail cells are. But the office itself, the desks are trim, clean, orderly. Doesn't seem to be any coats or hats here. Neither the deputies or the sheriff are here.
Is it a flat roof? Oh, sorry, Becca.
It's a flat roofed building, yes.
In the hand that isn't holding the lantern, I'm going to take my great axe out.
Okay, sounds good.
Marv, take a look through the office.
Absolutely, you can roll an investigation check. Are you looking for anything particularly?
I'd be looking for if there's any keys.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Or any contrabands.
Are you proficient in investigation?
You bet I am.
Fantastic. You can roll that with advantage.
Oh, I thought you were popping out another tooth.
That's not good. It's not bad. 14.
You take a rifle through the desks. It seems to be primarily paperwork. There are an extra set of handcuffs in each desk drawer. There are 3 pairs if you would like to help yourself to them.
I'll take the other 2 if you don't have intentions for them.
You have 2 pairs of manacles, Spagg, and 1 pair, Dr. Clampton. And then, you see some personal effects on Severin's desk. You see no personal effects on the Dupree brothers' desks or in them. They're very clean, very orderly. It's just filing paperwork, basically. You do not find any keys.
Marv, give me a boost. I'm gonna get up on the roof, keep an eye out. If I hear a commotion, I'll come running. But I'm gonna try. I'll whistle if I see anyone coming.
Marv kneels down, cups his hands together for the old.
Yeah, you boost him up, no problem. You get him on top of the roof, Wyatt, and it is the storm clouds are starting to clear. The thunder is still rolling quite far off in the distance, but it is not currently. There was no rain. It was the clouds were just very, very heavy and strong. Nothing. It's quite a clear night. It's very quiet.
And then I pick my head back over and I go, "Oh, and Marv, I prefer pistols, but I'm feeling like this might be a time to expand my repertoire. So if you see a rifle in there, maybe just grab it for me. I think if I'm finding myself on more roofs lately, it might be better."
Understood.
Pop back down. Just kind of sit at the roof looking around.
Okay, and what is your... I'll have you just roll me a perception check just so that I can keep that in mind as you're on the roof.
That's a natural 20, so 25.
Wonderful. Yeah, you are basically... You found at least 2 or 3 vantage points on the top of the roof that you can see both up and down the street. So that you are almost right... The Cup and Pony is right across from the church and the street, and you are probably just past the church. It would be the almost at the edge of the road out of town. It's right on the edge of the road out of town. You're almost near where the graveyard is, where the bones kind of came through from.
Cool. I would like to set up an implement.
Okay.
And you tell me, because like this is a little mechanically, but
okay.
It's me trying to justify a spell.
Pitch me.
What I would like to do is like Old West roofs were sturdy, but like not concrete or anything.
Absolutely.
So I want to take like a pack of gunpowder, and I'm going to put it into basically a container that is quite thick metal that he's like made himself to essentially contain an explosion. He's going to place it face down in the middle of the roof with like a trigger that if he shoots it, it'll blow down. And that's essentially me trying to justify if I want to thunder wave the roof open.
Nice.
That's like me being like, I'll shoot that and like blow that open.
Okay, sounds good.
And
you set that up.
I'll also be like, "Hey Marv, just stay clear of the center of the room. Just if things happen."
Kind of stops and kind of looks slowly up at you and goes, "All right."
Just in case. I like to, set things up just in case.
Marv is very much all about trying to be as quiet as possible, which is the antithesis of Wyatt. Like, he specifically does not use guns because they are too loud for his taste.
I love it.
Right. Wyatt is spry but flashy.
Marv, your hearing is just starting to fully come back as of this point after the lightning cracks in front of you that you saw that rang out around Dr. Clampton. What would you like to do on the ground, Marv?
I'd like to continue circling the building, seeing if there is another entrance or exit or any windows that I could potentially peek into.
Yeah, you up at the top of the building, kind of there's a very thin row of windows that seem to have bars on them. There is like glass, glass bars it's a window probably about like a foot wide, and they kind of go in like 2-foot long panels just around the top, just right below the roof is just to let some light inside. They don't look like they open at all, and they are barred. Absolutely. There isn't any other doors or windows around the outside of the building. It is just the one way into the sheriff's office.
All right, then I will continue going around the full periphery of the building. I'll take out my knife and just kind of tap the eave to get Wyatt's attention. There's only one way in or out. So keep an eye out on one door. It's a little easier than 2.
Yeah, I got you.
And I'll go around to the front and make my way back to the rest of the group and just let them know this is it. This is the only door in or out of here.
I'm going to just slide the device further towards the back of the building so that it's not super central, that it's like near the back.
Okay, you do so. Yeah. The rest of you inside, what would you like to do? Marv, are you heading inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the 4 of you are now
let
inside.
Them know that Wyatt's on the roof, keeping an eye out. Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Let's get it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the door between you is to the back where, Tam, you would know Pal is being kept. And that the rest of you had seen one of the Dupree brothers come out after, like, they had said that they you had assumed that Pal was back there. It is the door is there. Would you like to try it? It is locked. And you don't have keys.
I'm gonna go for it again.
Once again, kind of raising.
I love this. Okay.
What, like, mechanically speaking, Sean, what is the tooth?
Why, those are the various talismans.
Oh,
The
amazing.
talisman. It would be as though I were putting my talisman on Hass.
I see.
But
That's
rather
awesome.
Yep.
That's very cool.
Rather than just drugs.
Different paths to the same end.
Oh no, this end is wildly different.
Yeah, you can roll that check with 2d4 on top of that.
I got 27.
Okay. So you manage to kick the door, and all of you hear a click. And I'm going to need to have everyone make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh,
please.
dear.
Including me?
No, you are on the roof of the building farther away.
Is the effect of this something I could see?
You did not look for it, nor know it was there, so no.
Okay.
For the sake of danger sense, I think you still get advantage as a barbarian.
Okay.
And you would then you would probably
so,
see on things that she can see. This was a trap that none of you saw or knew about.
Okay.
12 for Marv.
Okay.
15 for the Reverend.
18.
Okay.
15.
Sorry, how much?
15.
15. Okay. Spagg, you manage to, just as you were like reaching out, you see this flame rip out of the corner of the door. As you manage to duck back, the flames still singe you. Everyone else did not make it far enough away, so you are going to take some damage.
Danger sense is super weirdly worded.
Yes.
It's a strange ability because it like uses traps as an as an example, but it does say stuff you can see. So it's like,
if the trap was like, I can imagine that it was, the trap was pointed out to you, but you said, like, the rogue tripped it or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I rolled very poorly, so you are going to take 7 points of fire damage as a bunch of flame just whoosh rips out of the door.
Did I get the door open though?
You did, and it would Spagg. It would only be 3 points for you.
Y'all good?
Did anything in the room catch fire as well?
No.
Okay, so there's no fire that we need to put out.
No fire that you need to put out at this point. It seems to be a very like point-lated trigger that came right out, like a flame that came straight out towards you. But the door is now open. Do you go inside?
Yes.
As you go inside, it is pitch black inside, and you hear from the back, "Don't move or I'll shoot." It is not a voice you recognize.
Who goes there?
I'll have you roll me a history check, please, Tam, since you've been part of this town.
That is a natural 1.
You...
Canonically, Tam's hearing is not very good.
I wonder why.
I would say with your concussion, your age, and
the recent explosions
in front of you, you are having a very hard time both hearing and placing the voice.
If you could speak a little louder, friend.
Bailiff Johnson, sir. Also, hi, Dorktails. Hello, thank you for the raid, Dorktails.
Big raid.
Big raid. Hello, folks. We are out here in the Weird West. Come join us.
That was Bailiff Johnson's voice for a second.
Thanks for the rating.
Thanks for rating my prison.
Y'all okay? Because I just
a nickname for Tam Clampton.
That's so funny.
I did just hear an explosion, and y'all good?
You can vaguely hear Wyatt's voice on the top of the roof. Tam, you would know that in the sheriff's office, Severin is obviously Clementine is a very small town. They have never needed much presence for law enforcement. There is usually a sheriff, a deputy, but in this case two, because the twins are a package deal. And they usually keep on one bailiff, essentially. And currently, it is Bailiff Johnston.
Bailiff, it's Dr. Tam Clampton.
Dr. Clampton, what are you doing here? We thought you left.
Yeah, well, that was a lie. I was accosted in my church and left for dead.
What?
Yes.
You watch as a man comes forward. He's wearing like a prim outfit. Like he's obviously the person who is here stationed at night. This is his job. So he comes forward. His gun is still drawn, and he's standing just at the edge of your lanterns. You see a man probably in his late 20s, kind of a very trim haircut, very well kept mustache. He looks very average, normal, nothing special. But his pistol is still, or his pistol, standard issue pistol is still drawn towards you. What are you doing here?
We mean you no harm. You have my word. And I reach out my hand, just offering it to just shake his hand.
With all due respect, Reverend, you look like shit.
Yes.
It's the middle of the night, and you've broken into the sheriff's office.
Yeah, did you hear about the skeleton mob? Did you see that?
It's my job that when things go off the rail, I was sitting in the office just doing the night shift, and then it is my job to guard the prisoners, if there are any. So
are there any prisoners at the moment?
Mr. Whiteblood is in the back.
Is that Pal? Pal Whiteblood?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, wonderful. I'd quite like to speak with them. May I?
Do you have written permission, sir?
Well, it's about the skeletons.
Skeletons.
So, yeah, you saw the skeletons, right?
I did hear a cacophony. I hear a lot of sound outside, and I came back in here. I didn't take much chance to look outside. That is
Bailiff.
Young man, I understand it's quite a troubling time, but... And I would like to crunch down on something in my mouth and just exhale vapor into his face.
Okay.
And I would just like to say, I'd suggest that you keep this town safe and do your job by escorting us to the sheriff, and we can all keep the town safe together. And
amazing.
I would love to make him more pliable
yes.
with this vapor.
Are you casting suggestion on him?
I am casting.
I love the idea that Spagg is just if not immune, resistant to most narcotics, just because they exist in his mouth at all times. He's just he has to take so many drugs to get high.
So many. And what's the save on that one?
Here's a suggestion. There she is. It's a 17 wisdom.
Okay. As the vapor rolls over Bailiff Johnston, you see him grit his teeth and almost hold his resolve. He rolled a natural 20 on his save.
Ooh.
And he goes, "Sir, if you're looking for the sheriff, that's Sheriff Severin, and he will be back in the morning."
Oh, no. No need to speak to Severin. Bailiff, he was the one. I hold him directly responsible for my condition, even though it was, in fact, the deputies, the Duprees, who put me in that state.
What are you talking about, Dr. Clampton?
Well, I have I have it on good authority that Severin framed Pal. I don't fully know why. What his end goal was other than to take his position. But I have it on good authority that is what happened. And I would like to question Pal about the incident.
I'll let you roll a persuasion check.
I feel like Wyatt's on the roof, like, I should blow this roof. I shouldn't blow the roof. Just like no one has answered him. He's just like, his gun is just like looking right at the fucking thing. I should blow this roof.
That's only a 6.
Now you know the Johnstons. Tam, it is a young family. His wife, Julie, and their baby boy, who used to come into church every Sunday. You know this family. Come to confessional. Good family from here in this town. You knew Johnson's parents before they passed as well. The bailiff looks at you, his gun not pointing at you, but still in his hand. With the most respect, Dr. Clampton. It is your word against theirs, and I am the only thing standing in the manner of the law right now. So I'm going to have to respectfully decline your request.
Bailiff, this is an unwise course of action. I tell you, I do not suffer man's law. I only look to the Lord above. So choose wisely as you proceed. And I kind of step back.
Are you trying to intimidate him?
Yeah.
And I would love to just assist him.
Are you proficient in intimidation?
Of course, probably.
Of course, probably.
Is there any way that I can I would like to step behind Haas, essentially, the more intimidating
Okay,
figure.
so you're using Haas's muscle essentially as
like
a
I would sort of
Okay. I will let Haas, you can roll, then I will have Haas roll the intimidation roll, but with strength.
I am so glad.
So you can just add your strength bonus to that.
So 28.
Holy shit.
How did we roll a 20? What's your it would just be a d20 plus your strength
And
modifier.
My strength modifier is +9.
Are you proficient in intimidation, Haas?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, then okay, great.
So +9 to whatever you rolled.
Yeah.
Okay, so 28.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Big,
My apologies.
big,
Yes.
big.
No problem.
The bailiff, he looks at you, Tam, seeing you standing behind Haas.
This 5'4" brick house of a woman.
Yes. And he looks at you, Tam, and he goes, I thought that you were a better man than this, Dr. Clampton. And he steps aside.
I would tap the ground twice and go, I suppose we shall see what type of man I am soon enough.
I'm going to take the handcuffs out of Tam's pocket that he put them in and take the gun away from the bailiff now that he's stepped aside and is very intimidated by me, and handcuff him to a pipe.
He looks at you and he passes over the gun willingly. He goes, there is no need. I will sit in the office. You may have your time with him, but I suppose we will see what you do before you leave tonight. So he excuses himself, passes you his gun, and sits in the office.
That's fine.
Yeah, he casts you one last look, Tam. You see just a look of betrayal.
Okay.
As we all move on to the next scene, I'd just love to poke my head into the office and be like, way to do your job by keeping the town safe. That starts with keeping you safe. Good choice. And I move back with the party.
You hear as he lights up a cigarette in the office. And you have essentially the jail cells to yourself.
Hey y'all, if I don't hear from you like real soon, I'm blowing this roof. I just want you to know that, cause like,
yeah, do it, coward.
Okay, no,
You
okay,
hear Spagg calling from the inside.
All right. Like go back to looking at the front.
What would you like to do? You are now in the jail cells alone. You have been told that Jedediah Wildblood is in the back left-hand corner.
Wait, get him to crack his knuckles. What if this is a boneless boy?
Do you just ask, hey, crack your knuckles? Like, what? How do you?
Yeah.
You state like Pal has been in the room with you this entire time.
No, not Pal. Silent. Fucking fellow who we're about to leave to his own devices.
Oh, well, you want to poke your head back in the office out there?
Hey, fella, can you crack your knuckles real quick?
You gonna shoot me if I don't?
Yeah, absolutely. Great bones. Go back to the party.
I love Spagg knows what he's about. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I absolutely knows what he's about. Yeah, so you are in the room. You can't see him at this point. He is outside the view of your lanterns. Is there anything you would like to do at this point?
Pal?
Thought that was you old bastard. You hear this gravelly voice with a drawl, probably much more than I can adequately do, emanate from the back. It rolls through the room. The voice just echoing around you. What are you doing here?
Well, I was coming to set you free. And I happen to meet these fine folks in a bit of a dust-up.
You know that's not the way we do things around here.
Well, to put this kindly, you are not in charge anymore.
You watch as at that point, you see the flick of a lighter. And it touches the end of what you could only assume to be a cigar, bigger than a cigarette. That you hear a couple puffs come through, and you hear the long draw on a cigar. That may be the case, but I don't want to be a hunted man if I'm getting out of here. Do you walk over to his cell? Mm-hmm. Okay. So as you walk down the row of cells, you see everything else is in quite fine repair. There is like no crime in Clementine. So the beds, the cots, wash up basins are very neatly arranged. There's really nothing has been touched other than the cell in the back. And as you come upon Jedediah Wildblood, who goes by Pal, in the back cell, the rest of you see just this big and broad barrel-chested man. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Lawless with Tom Hardy in it. He's like Forrest Bondurant. He is fucking huge. He's just a barrel of a man. He is bald with an auburn walrus mustache that curls up at the ends. Imagine if like Jamie Heineman from Mythbusters was just like a brick shithouse.
Just fucking yoked.
So fucking yoked.
They were testing the powers of creatine.
With
confirmed.
He doesn't have glasses. Yeah, actually, you know what? One sec here.
So
we have a visual aid.
I gotta look up yoked Heineman right now.
Yeah, this is
you know that there's gonna be something.
This is a character that M played.
Man right there? That's Pal.
Oh, heavens.
Oh, he's so handsome.
There he is, right there. That's Pal.
With the mustache.
Fuck yeah.
That's a pop collar.
So nice just having art.
What'd you find, Tim?
I
Do you regret Googling this?
I do.
What'd you Google, Tim? Because I want to live with you. I want to be.
No, I don't think you do.
What did you Google?
No. Don't get us tossed. Don't get us tossed, boys.
I'm not going to bring it up. I just want to see it personally.
I'll tell you, I looked up yoked Jamie Heineman and I wasn't pleased with the results. So I typed in a different first word and I regret doing
Was it ripped?
No. I'll tell you after.
We'll talk about it afterwards. So we move on, and you see just this like very broad man. He's wearing a white linen shirt with tan slacks, with suspenders that look like they loop up over his shoulders that are down at this point, and he is sitting on the floor, smoking a cigar. If, as I said, Tam, I don't want to be hunted coming out of here. If I'm getting out of here, it is on good authority.
Well, I believe these folks may have some questions for you and may be able to help facilitate that.
Who are they?
Well, I'll be honest. I just met them myself maybe an hour ago.
You look like shit.
Yes, well, I do feel my age at the moment.
He chuckles.
How does he look? Does he look injured at all?
No. He looks like he's probably not eating enough to sustain his like extremely muscular frame. Mm-hmm. He looks like he probably hasn't been sleeping great. The bed is obviously too small for him. And the rest of you would remember that when one of the Jetson or one of the Dupree brothers came out, one of them asked, "Have you fed him today?" And the other ones said, "Nah, maybe later."
Well, what's the name of our employer?
Mr. Galwood. T. Edgar Galwood.
Well, my name's Professor Spagg Edison Meewall. And we have been hired by Mr. Galwood to see to this town's needs. Could you tell me how you found yourself to be in this predicament? A man so devout to the law.
How far back you want me to go?
You know what's relevant?
Well,
we have reason to believe that the sheriff, but particularly his fucking deputies, are bad entities. It is, not even metaphorically speaking, not necessarily people.
Oh God, that dice just completely ran away from me off the table.
The legs spread it out.
He looks at you for a moment and narrows his eyes and takes a very long draw on his cigar. The smoke plumes out around in rings and just escapes into the darkness. Well, Galwood and I have always got on well. He's a good man. He treats the miners very, very well. He is well liked here in town. And I thought I was well liked here in town. I came out here and Clementine had been without a sheriff for a couple months. So I found my post here after coming in from out further west from the coast. And it was good. It's been a good town. People are nice, very typical. And then one day, well, I mean, the Duprees I'd known them very briefly on the coast, and I was looking for some new deputies, and they put in to be stationed here. Like, why the fuck would you leave the coast if you're not needing to go, young men like them? But so they came, and work was great. Work was good. There was very little crime. There was very little for us to do here. And then a couple weeks, month or so, man walks into my office, says I'm under arrest. And I look at him and I go, for what? They put the charges down, papers, official, stamped by the governor. Treason. I didn't fight it. I'm not about to pull my irons or use my fists to get what I need. I don't have any family. It's just me. So I got them to put in a call to my lawyer, Ulysses. And I haven't heard whether he is on his way or not. But I plan on fighting the charges. But we do things proper here.
That's good. Under normal circumstances, that's very noble. But I've got a visual aid that I think will turn your shit right inside out. Hey, Haas, you want to show him our guest?
He comes up to the bars and he looks at you first and ma'am, very respectfully. And he looks at the jar. And you watch him regard it for a moment and he takes a look around, turns it around a little bit. What the fuck is that?
Shoff. We call it. It is called shoff.
Shoff. I ain't fucking heard of that.
Is that the first time I've heard the word?
Yes. It's not. It's the first time in this party that you have heard the word said. But I will let you roll based on what you know, Tam. I will let you roll a history check, please.
Oh, that's very good. That's an 18.
Yeah, you remember the exact words that the Dew Priest said to you. They're in what I sent you in that email.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you want me to?
If you would like. Whenever. I would let you reveal that if you choose to.
Dupree said something to me before they left me to die. They said, my God is a sham created by our small minds to give us comfort as we idle away the short, meaningless existence on this forsaken rock. You'll be at peace, Dr. Clampton. The Shoth will set you free.
They do that by taking your bones. It's why Spagg likes to see people crack their knuckles so much.
I don't know anything about the Shoth or...
Well, we believe that the deputies and probably the sheriff and a number of the individuals over at the Ambrosia are either filled with this goo or in league with it. So, if ever there... No,
not going to get a fair trial and should come with us.
I'm going to have you roll a group persuasion check.
Ooh.
Because you have a man here who very much wants to follow the law. He has seen actual charges brought against him, though he does not fully know the cause. You get very much the sense that he doesn't want, he's a sheriff. He doesn't want to break the letter of the law. So for those of you inside, I'm going to have you roll me a persuasion check, each of you. 10?
10.
3.
6 off a natural 1.
Okay. He looks down at the jar and he looks up to you, locking eyes with you, Tam. I know you never met her, Tam, but Maribel would roll over in her grave if she saw me leave this cell. You know that. Maribel, you would know Tam is his wife, who died before she ever could make it to Clementine, before they left the coast.
Well, fine. You stubborn old bear. Stay in your little cage. We'll be back to get you.
As you say bear, he laughs. If you see my granddaddy's necklace out there, you bring it back to me.
I certainly will.
Hey, before we go, can give us any insight into this new sheriff? Just in case he's filled with goo. Running theory, you asked what it was. Probably a demon, maybe something worse. We're figuring it out.
A demon?
Oh, yeah. Look, if you can believe us that there's this weird goo, there was a mob of skeletons walking straight down Main Street. You should have seen it. It was literally hellish. Anyways, this sheriff and his boys, you've been sitting with them? Have they been talking about anything kind of funky or...
Well, Severin is a quiet man.
Stuff that we might want to investigate?
He seems to keep mostly to himself. He was what came in afterward. The Duprees were with me for a while before he came out, and they brought the charges against me. Duprees are smug sons of bitches, but they do their work. They are decently well respected in town. I have never needed to take issue with them. Always on time, very punctual, well dressed, decently civil, probably drink more than they should, but this is Clementine. And Severin, to be honest, he led me into this cell, and that is the extent that I know of him. He has not stepped back here. Just the Duprees.
Marv would just like to lean in to this conversation about the Duprees. And, well, for what it's worth, we were at the Ambrosia when the skeleton ordeal happened, and Duprees were there, as is their right.
Doesn't surprise me. Boys spend many nights there, but
I will let you know that as we went out into the fray, they disappeared. They left the law to us.
And they knew the skeletons were coming. Or how they reacted led me to believe that.
So, while you speak highly of them and their work ethic, I ain't seen it.
Well, I am sure they will have their reckoning either at your hands.
They will have their reckoning.
We're just gonna leave because there's nothing cooler that we could possibly say than that.
On his way out, he goes.
Ground twice.
Severin seems to be a man who likes to make upward movement. I don't think him being here is a permanent situation. Maybe that's what got me in here. I don't know. As you leave. And he retreats back into the cell.
I like to believe there was a distant rumble of thunder as I said there will be a reckoning.
Absolutely, always.
Do you have thaumaturgy?
No, I wish.
I was gonna say, like, that's the best way. Like,
so you leave. Or you walk back into the main office. Bailiff Johnston is sitting there. He has smoked a couple cigarettes and seems to be drinking a cup of coffee.
I appreciate your agreeableness. Your prisoner remains imprisoned.
I didn't really have much choice, did I, Dr. Clampton?
Well, you stepped out of the way, not I, so you may not understand this today, but you did the right thing.
I'll let God be the judge of what's right.
Bless you, child. He kind of winks at him.
Do you leave? Yeah. Okay. You leave the sheriff's office.
Whatever you got, take it down.
Okay.
Blow this place up.
I'm gonna dismantle the thing, put it back in my coat,
blow the roof.
Oh, I was ready, baby.
What? Okay, so you are standing outside the sheriff's office, pal.
I would love to make a little space between us and the sheriff's office.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Where would you like to go at this point? You still have your rooms at the Cup and Pony. It is probably about 1 or 2 in the morning at this point. The street is quiet. People seem to have, there is like things broken, but people seem to have returned inside whatever homes and domiciles that they reside at.
I'd say we gotta find Dahlia. Definitely knew about the skeletons. The Dupree brothers also, and Tulip told us to look out for Madame.
Zanziva. Also, thank you, Good Fork, for the raid.
Hey,
hello
Good
to my
Fork.
favorite piece of cutlery.
Oh.
Hello.
We should look out for Zanziva. But yeah, I won't. I think there's some stuff that the Dupree brothers and us, we need to square some things away.
Do you think Geraldine could help us find them? Move the seance up a night?
Then go see her right now.
That was like a couple hours ago. She said she had to get stuff ready.
Yeah,
I would hate to rush the occult. Dr. Clampton, you've been locked in that church. Were they doing anything in that church? Did you hear any movement or activity while you're...
It's in and out of consciousness for the last 3 weeks in the basement. I don't believe there's been any worship since.
There's been nothing of you when you were awake. You didn't hear anything above you.
You're all welcome to stay in the church with me.
Reverend, is there a gunsmith in town or?
Oh my gosh, ADHD Adventures. Hello, Raiders with the giant raid of 57.
I like
hello,
that.
folks.
Adventures. I like that. As someone with
Hello.
ADHD.
Welcome in. Come ye some haws with us.
Hello. Is there
I know there's...
Tam, do you know where the deputies lived?
You don't.
I don't. I try not to stick my nose in my parishioners' business. I don't keep tabs on them in that way. Just their spiritual selves. I'd like to keep tabs on their spiritual well-being and spiritual health. But as for the gunsmith,
you would know that the general store, which would be Duchesne, Dufresne, and DuPont, would probably be your best place to go for that. If there are any sort of any goods that you want to buy, or you need to purchase parts or gunpowder or ammunition, that will be the place that you go. And you would know, Tam, that you would know that there is Samuel Duchesne, Alan Dufresne, but the person that you really would like to talk to is Rebecca DuPont.
Yeah, Triple D's. You want to go over there?
I'm guessing
Rebecca DuPont.
I'm guessing they're not going to be open this time of night. So.
Oh no. They close at sundown.
I reckon we go back to the Ambrosia. Maybe the dust settled a little, and we can ask about Dahlia. I find out where we might find her, and well, she might keep these hours, given her profession. Where she might be this time of night, or
I don't mind that idea.
Feel that's the only reasonable path forward, unless we're just going to call it a night.
There's a little cat that walks by and just meows at you.
God damn.
What? I'll bring him over. Cats love me. Right, come on. Yeah.
Our cat does love Tim more than me. It's very true.
So mosey back to the Ambrosia.
So you make your way through the piles of skeleton debris that is still littering the street as you walk to the end of the Ambrosia.
I would love to just roll perception just to see if there's like a street dog who's having the best night of his life.
Absolutely. Please roll perception for the goodest boy.
Did this not happen last week?
8.
I'm having the most overwhelming sense of deja vu that we were about. Like, it was coming to the close of the session. We were going to the Ambrosia, and Sean wanted to find a dog having a good time. And I don't know, like, I'm like...
It might be in every episode bit.
Or just every time you speak to Sean.
Yeah.
This is blowing my mind right now.
So sorry, what was your perception check?
This is an 8.
I mean, yeah, there's of course dogs around. You see a couple people are actually grabbing like some of the bones and taking them up to like
good soup.
a dog. Good soup. Worst soup. To the dogs that are on the patios, you see a couple like animals of some description have made their way over from the housing block to kind of get a good little snippy at what's going on. Yeah, so that you would see a couple good boys and good girls sniff it through. Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
nothing with that information except smile because I saw a bunch of happy dogs today.
Makes me so happy. Yeah, so you wander back towards the Ambrosia. You see a group of people sitting inside. Most of the patrons have left. There is someone one of the wonderful individuals who works there, Cedar, the tallest, most muscular of the people you could spend the evening with, is standing at the door. And he goes, please, we're just trying to take care of our own. He stops you outside before you head inside.
Is Mrs. Sanziva inside?
What do you know about what happened to her?
Nothing. We're looking for it. Tulip asked me to keep an eye out, so I'm trying to do right by that.
He looks back in the room and you see behind him Madame Zanziva in her beautiful yellow and black dress is sitting on the couch, and she looks like she has had the absolute shit beaten out of her.
I am a doctor.
As Cedar's eyes fall on, Dr. Clampton, what are you doing here? We heard you left.
No, that was a filthy lie that was told by the Dupree brothers after they beat me senseless and left me for dead in the church basement. Yes, Doctor, I know. I was as shocked as you are.
Are they with you, Dr. Clampton?
These fine folk?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
You may come in. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, he lets you inside, but he seems to be taking post at the door.
Real quick, could you just give me a nice little knuckle crack? I know it's weird. Just humor me. We've had a weird day, and yeah, okay, lovely, okay.
Whew. So you go inside. You see Tulip is standing behind the couch, talking to sorry, my notes here, talking to River and Rose, two of the other wonderful individuals who work there. And they are both seem to be doting on Zanziva, just kind of keeping an eye on her. She is sitting on the couch and she looks to be in some sort of shock. Her dress is torn and ripped. She's covered in blood. Her hair is askew. Yeah, she's not a pretty sight.
Tulip, oh, sorry, Doc. You can.
No, I would just give her a kind of a once over, and then if I could, is anyone else hurt, or is it just Zanziva?
No, you just see Zanziva as hurt.
Then I would kind of give her a medical once over and start to kind of tend to her wounds if I could cast Cure Wounds.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do that. I'll let you go ahead and do that. So you take a couple minutes to look over her injuries. She seems to have like a couple ribs might be broken based on the sounds coming from her lungs, as well as she has a black eye that is almost swollen shut. Her lip is busted, and she looks like she just looks like she's been beaten.
I use a religion check to check her aura. Like,
you want to do a vibe check?
I want, the nature of my faith is trying to really see if people are in tune with themselves. What I want to ascertain is the damage to her purely physical, or is there some?
Has her psyche been
messed
with? Okay, yeah, I'll let you roll a religion or insight, your choice.
Oh, that's definitely religion.
Good.
7.
She seems to be
new dice.
you.
No, this dice is good.
you've seen people in shock before. People who have had experiences that they can't seem to comprehend, that their brain just says, you don't need to be here right now. She looks like she kind of is just staring forward. She doesn't even seem to clock that it's Dr. Clampton who is tending to her. She just is staring straight ahead at a non-existent point on the floor.
Tulip, she say anything about this?
Why? She comes around to you. We found her in the back, in her suite. She was on the ground. She wasn't conscious, but we managed to revive her with some smelling salts.
What direction is her suite?
It's in the back. I'll take you to it.
Oh,
come on.
Hass, what direction did the Dupree boy? What direction he
Right
had?
out the front.
Went out the front. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look. Come on, let's go.
Does anyone go with you, or is it just you and Tulip?
Oh, all of us. Well,
okay.
Spagg invites himself along.
Tam, are you going to stay with Zanziva?
I think I'd stay with Zanziva, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stay with Zanziva as well.
Okay. Hass, Tam, as you start tending, a lot of the workers come downstairs and are so happy to see you. You would know most of them very well, as they would often quite be frequent parishioners, and have come to seek you for advice. Before she leaves with Wyatt, Tulip looks over and she goes, "It's mighty good to see you, Dr. Clampton."
Bless you, child.
She smiles. And she leads you back into Zanziva's apartment. You see that the door is burst open, and that there has been signs of a struggle. You see, yeah, go ahead.
Y'all touch anything, move anything? It's important for me to know if you can remember.
No, it was it was Birch and Ash that came in here, and they found her on the ground. They brought her out. To my knowledge, I don't think they touched anything. They just came in here and grabbed her and they brought her out. We don't really spend time in Zanziva's suite, so we didn't go any further.
Wyatt's gonna go full fucking bounty hunter mode, because he's very good at investigation. He's just gonna start like going through the room, finding any clues that could like suggest who might have done this.
Spagg would love to assist him.
Absolutely. You can roll that check at advantage, please.
Oh, that's real good. That's a 25.
Okay. So you're peeking through the room. You see that particularly it looks as if someone was looking for something in this room. And you look that their chests are open, bookshelves seem to have top turned. Everything that seems to have been open, or like that was closed, that could have been carrying or hiding something, seems to have been opened or upended. And it seems to start in one corner and kind of work its way out as if and I would say, Wyatt, with your knowledge and good sense of tracking people, you can make a sense that there was likely two people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like realizing that it looks like they were looking for something, and having figured out there's two people, I'm gonna start just like, because like, is there a desk? There's like a desk, and there's like, I'm just gonna start like knocking on wood and like putting my hand behind things, just trying to find any secret compartments that they might have missed in their hunt, just to give us a clue of what was going on.
With that investigation check, you don't find any that aren't already ripped open.
And are there some secret compartments that have been discovered?
There are, yeah. And it's interesting too, because there is money. There is a lot of money in this suite, both in coin and tender, as well as very expensive antiques, mostly broken now, but the things that were very expensive, that if this was simply a smash and grab, they would have taken the tender. And you are looking, and I'll say with a 25, you are looking at your eyes kind of draw to the mantelpiece, and you see that the painting is askew.
I'll go over to the painting, kind of check the edges, lift it, look behind it.
You see a cabinet that is partially open and hidden behind it. It looks as if it has already been opened.
Shit. I'll just look through the cabinet, see if there's any like residue or like if there was anything left behind.
You look at the locking mechanism, and I'll say with your history and your background and your proficiency with gadgets and stuff, you can see that has been opened with acid of some description. There are burn marks and residue.
God damn. Okay. Well, they were looking for something, Spagg.
Do you open the cabinet?
Yeah, I'll open the cabinet.
Okay. Inside, you see a compartment that is basically empty. It is quite large. I would say probably the compartment is about, a foot and a half square, for a cabinet that's behind a painting. And you see a stand that looks like it held something that is missing. There is I can only describe it as like a mounted stand for something, not an easel, but a stand. And that whatever was on there is no longer on there.
The object, does it seem like it was like long, like it was at a stand to hold like a long thing, or like round? Yeah,
round.
Okay. Whatever they were looking for, they found it, but they weren't looking for coin or nothing. This was targeted. This was intentional.
But why would they do this to Zanziva?
For whatever was in here.
Tulip, have you seen Dahlia since the event?
No, I mean, I was upstairs with Wyatt, and then when I came down, I haven't seen her. And come to think of it, I haven't seen Mesa either.
Mesa? Do Mesa or Dahlia have any suspicious habits or patterns? When, we're not here to yuck anybody's yum, but...
She would look to you, Wyatt, knowing that she had shared some information with you before. Looking for a signal, essentially, that it's okay to share.
Yeah. I think Spagg can be trusted.
Well, as I told Wyatt, the Duprees tend to favor Dahlia and Mesa. And
yeah, that tracks.
Oh, also thank you, Natural 20 Productions, for the raid. Hello, folks. Thank you.
For
Come
all
on
the fish
in.
Tacos.
Thank you for coming to Yee Some Haas with us. And I know you're looking around for something to do with the shelf, whatever that is. I heard Dahlia say it behind her door. I don't know what the context was, but I heard her say it.
Do you know where either Mesa, Dahlia, or the Dupree live?
Well, Dahlia and Mesa live here.
Yeah, that figures.
I don't know where the Duprees live.
Could you let me and Spagg into their rooms?
Well, I don't have keys at that. Madam.
Oh, we have a
Zanziva
house.
does.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we don't really need keys where we go.
I'm sure I can get the keys from Zanziva.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
A little less violent.
I mean, sure, if you want to be lame about it.
Spagg, this is a two-person job. I think
we're a place of business, sir. We're gonna have to. People here need to work. We don't really have.
Yeah. Would you have relayed this information?
Yeah, I'll come back.
We come back in and tell him.
Just point out what you saw.
Yeah, I'll come back and tell everyone what I figured out.
Okay, well, I kind of followed with you guys.
Oh, okay.
So I was you were doing your thing. But if you come back and talk about the acid, that's gonna twig Marv to think back to the lizard that he put into the jar, and how that was dissolved. And so I'd like to kind of look at the door to Zanziva's suite and see if there's any weakening around the latch or anything similar to that. And I'd also like, when we go back to Zanziva, to ask Dr. Clampton maybe to see if there's been any acid like burns or anything of consistency that way.
Okay, yeah. So you take a look at the door to Zanziva's suite. It does not seem to have acid put on it. And as you make your way back out, you see Tulip crouching down in front of Zanziva, and she's speaking very quietly. Tam, you hear her say, Irene, if you can hear me, I'm going to take your keys. You know you can trust me. Zanziva's eyes still stay straight into the floor as she reaches her hand into Zanziva's pocket and pulls out a small ring of keys. She holds them. She says, I'll open the doors for you. Why, that should be me.
Yeah, no, I get that.
The
door to Zanziba's suite, no sign of forced entry.
It looked like it was forced.
It was forced. Okay.
It does not look like it was an acid burn or anything like that.
So someone did break in. So
yes,
cool. Because I was like, that's a big clue if it wasn't forced.
As we're passing, could I just take special attention at her fingernails?
Whose fingernails?
Zanziva's.
Yeah.
Is there blood under her fingernails or another substance?
There is blood under her fingernails. Yes.
Dinger.
So Tam, I'm assuming you relay that you're looking for acid burns.
Yeah.
You out of the most proprietous way that you can, you would lift up her skirts, and you would see some acid burns on her legs. You see a long patch that seems to have wrapped around one leg.
If I may, I can tend to this. Hopefully, prevent some of the scarring. Oh dear, the cat has entered the cat is in here.
The eater is not doing his job.
Can you grab my D20 before?
No, I'm afraid I can't.
Okay. Sorry. So, sorry, Hass, you were saying something?
I'm assuming that I can see the wrapping on her leg. And I'm going to grab Tam, and because I didn't tell him about the tentacle people before.
And you relay that.
And I am reminded in all the trauma of the past few hours about the tentacle people.
And for Adam, because it was a long time ago and my memory is bad, the tentacle people were the people we shot that came out of the pit, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pit people.
And they were like they were like gooey.
Yeah, they had three tentacled arms, and tried to slam you into the pit. The pit that hurt your brains.
They burnt when they touched
us.
I
hate that pit.
Yes, the pit that burnt when they touched you. Tam, do you touch it?
The wound?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As you do, her eyes turn directly to you, and she seems to come a bit back to her senses.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Clampton, you would know that this is Irene Zanziva. Like, you've spoken to her many times.
I know, it's like seeing a ghost. I can assure you I am real.
Am I dead?
No, nor I.
What happened?
Seems as though, well, I was going to ask you. Seems as though you were accosted in your room. Do you remember what happened?
I'm going to roll a wisdom saving throw for her.
Now take your time.
I remember when you, and for the rest of you, this is a very different Zanziva than the one that you encountered when you met her twirling about the room in the brothel. The one who made you blush something fierce, Hass. I remember I went into my suite and locked the door behind me. And I tried to block the door, but as I did, it was burst open, and Dahlia and Mesa burst into the room. Mesa slammed me into the wall. And Dahlia, as they pressed me against the wall, Dahlia looked at me in a way I've never been. it was like she saw into me. I've never felt anything like that. They held me down, and Dahlia began to search the room. She found what was in the cupboard behind my painting, and I don't know why they went searching for that. It's just a hunk of rock.
May I ask what the rock looked like? How you came into possession of it?
It was a gift from my late husband, bless his heart. It was a dark black rock, shiny in some parts, looked almost like it had been poured and then solidified into this beautiful. It was enrapturing to look at. He brought it back, and he said it was from the stars. I don't have much left of him, but there was that. I don't even know if it's worth anything.
It seems as though it was worth something to someone.
As I was losing consciousness, I felt it was like something slid over my face. It was sticky, and it hurt. It burned a bit. And that's when I felt my mind go blank. When they tell me that I heard all of you, but it was like I couldn't speak. And you look down and you see that were rope burns in her wrists.
Mm-hmm.
So very clearly she had been tied before they left. I didn't see them go. I must have passed out before then.
That's all right. You've already helped tremendously. I'm so sorry you had to go through that ordeal.
Is everyone else here all right? Is everyone here all right? She looks up to Tulip. Is everyone else okay? Yeah, of course. Of course they're all right. I'll look after them. You know that. Zenziva looks at her with almost a motherly glance to her. There is no familial resemblance to them in the slightest. But it's very much a caring relationship. And you see that the rest of the workers around seem to very much, you see the worry on their faces. They are very worried about Zenziva. Again, another patron proprietor who treats their employees very well, which would match up with everything that Tulip would have told you, Wyatt.
Y'all got any high proof moonshine, cheap stuff?
Perhaps behind the bar.
Good to know.
If there's nothing else, I am very tired. I should.
If you'd allow me to bandage the wound, it should prevent the scarring from being too.
All right.
Too much worse.
Go ahead. You take some time to bandage her with your medicine check. I clocked that. Thank you. Or your cure wounds.
Cure wounds. I can make a medicine check if you want. I am proficient in it.
No, you would have your abilities would have covered all that already. So Tulip has keys in hand. If you would like to go upstairs.
I'll assist Wyatt.
Yeah, I'll go investigate those rooms.
So as you walk upstairs, whose room would you like to go through first? Dahlia's or Mesa's?
I will also join. I'm bored of
let's get the whole fucking gang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's carrying the jar?
I have it.
Okay. Whose room were you going to first?
I think Dahlia's. I just think
Dahlia's.
We interacted with her more.
Okay. As you Tulip unlocks the door.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think we're a little past ma'am now.
Well,
out of you all clock it immediately the way she's looking at Wyatt. And she looks to the rest of you. Out of respect, I'm gonna
stay.
I
just saw Sean go. No, I don't.
Spagg doesn't notice with his wisdom before. The rest, It is considered very bad taste to walk into another person's room here. So out of respect, I'm going to stay outside.
Yeah, no worries. I think at this point, propriety's kind of out the window with them being like gross jelly ooze people, but I appreciate that. And I'm gonna head in, just really fastidiously go through. Like, I think everyone will have seen like Wyatt's like flamboyant kind of gunslinger stuff, and this is like real, like fucking Sherlock Holmes shit. Really
what's
methodical.
The marching order as you walk in the room?
Wyatt first.
Okay,
followed
Wyatt
by
first.
Spagg, I guess.
Yeah. Who's behind Spagg?
I'll go behind Spagg.
Yeah, right. Okay. Can go after.
Has.
I'm at the back.
Okay. So Wyatt, as you walk into the room, you see on the walls some thin cloth. It looks to be kind of like the room here is dark. It's like it matches Dahlia's style that she presents, the very like long black hair, quite pale, almost porcelain skin, very red lips with a deep red or deep blue dress. She is a bit more, she looks almost like a porcelain doll would be in her presentation. And the room matches that. You see curtains that are coming through that are the same colors. Spagg, Hass, and Marv. Hass, because you are holding the jar, and Slender Marv and Spagg, because you've already got some stuff burbling around in your noodle. I am going to need you to make some throws here.
Wyatt's fine?
Wyatt is fine.
Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah, you are not holding it, nor currently have it in your brain.
Nope. Oh, fuck, that's bad.
Bouncing around in your noodle.
Dear.
So Hass, since this is kind of the first engagement you are having with something to do with the Shoth that you didn't already fully save from, I'm going to need you to make me a charisma saving throw, please.
Oh, no.
And Spagg and Marv, I'm going to have you make wisdom saving throws, please.
17.
Okay.
Okay, we could still come back from this.
13 for Marv.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That's probably not going to do it. As you just... Spagg feels the little tingle in his brain, and you just hear a crunch in his teeth to bring him up to 14, but I doubt that'll be enough.
Okay. We will resolve Has first.
I hate the tooth thing.
Has, as you step into the room, it is like you can see through the curtains that are covering the walls that are very kind of like decoratively and aesthetically placed there. You see this writing almost burn through in your mind, the same writing that you saw up at the tents, up at the mining camp. It is everywhere. It is on every corner of this room, covered. It is almost like someone has taken notes in this language that is both, you cannot read it, you cannot comprehend it, and you feel it there burrowing into your mind with the same intensity as it was at the up at the camps. But again, you manage to steel yourself as you step into this room, though you hear a clink, a huge clink, as the jar in your hands is furiously bashing itself against the other jar that it is in your pack. You hear the clinking of glass on glass. Very, very hard.
We did put sand.
You did put sand in there.
We did fill it with sand.
Much discussion about that.
I think there was at least 20 minutes of an episode where we just talked about jars and sand.
I believe there's cloth and sand.
You hear the clink, maybe not as loud as I originally described it then, but you hear the clinking still. As who's carrying the bag? Hass, is it you?
Yeah.
Okay, you feel a pushing up.
Oh.
Not sideways. You hear up. It feels as if the inner jar is pushing up against the inside of the jar.
Can we boil that thing already?
Now, Spagg and Marv.
Oh no.
As you walk into the room, Spagg, you walked in first. The burbling that sits back here, that kind of, bubbly tinnitus, it is like someone turns the volume up to 11. The noise is screaming in your head with the intensity that you heard the young boy in the Cup and Pony on a couple days ago. It is that loud and that intense. And all of a sudden, almost as if in an instant to when it starts, you hear, "Be at peace. You are exactly where you need to be.
Oh no.
Become one with us." And mechanically, you feel as if this presence takes up a bigger space in your mind than it previously did. So there is a counter that I'm keeping track of. And it is creeping forward.
Boy, that's bad.
Marv, as you walk in, you too hear the burbling. And you had previously only heard it say, "Be at peace." And you hear the voice say in your head, "We have use for you, but that will be something we get to later." And that is where we are going to end it tonight.
Fuck. Fuck. That's not good.
That voice is so scary.
I don't feel at peace when I talk to the Shoth or when anyone talks to the Shoth. It's bad.
I thought that maybe that's a you problem.
It's for sure a you problem, not a them problem.
You're right.
They're so peaceful. They're so peaceful.
I do want to point out this happened quite a long time ago, but we were in the middle of something and I didn't want to interrupt it. But Haggis Bun did say something very funny when we were talking about Spagg's teeth.
Yes.
And Haggis said that they think that Spagg is just Keith Richards, but in the West. This is like a Wild West Keith Richards.
I'm not saying he ain't that.
You can't prove that Keith Richards isn't a time traveler.
He was in that documentary, Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was in that documentary.
Yeah.
The documentary bit. Where did that start? I can't remember.
A long time ago. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us in the weirdest of westest places tonight. A big thank you to all of my wonderful players for hanging out with me and letting me tell this creepy tentacled story. Thank you. We are back on Saturday for our main campaign. Thank you to all of our mods for throwing all of this stuff up in the chat. Please come join our Discord. Please follow us on YouTube. Also, if you are in the Pacific Northwest and you are wanting to, we are going to be at Fan Expo on Saturday. Fan Expo Vancouver. Come hang out with us. We're on stage 3 at 11 a.m. for a talk with myself and Sean and Adam. And then in the evening at 5:15 for a DMs workshop with Adam and Sean and Tim. It's going to be a delightful time. We are trying to record those things. We're going to try and figure that out so that we can bring that content to you as well if we can. We're going to do our best. So this campaign happens the third Wednesday of every month. There are 2 more sessions. It is only a 5-episode campaign, so if you want to get caught up before the next one, boy, how do you have plenty of time to do that.
That's wild.
There's only 2 more. There's only 2 more.
Then we all lose our bones.
And then you will, if you're not careful,
depends on our choices.
I think Wyatt, Hass, and Tam are doing all right bone wise, but I can't speak for the other 2.
Some choices are made.
Cartilage is underrated. That's all I'm gonna say. Cartilage is underrated. Sharks, no.
At the end of our sessions, we usually say good evening, and to do so here, I'm going to encourage everyone to have a wonderful weekend. Lose your bones, you guys. Everyone have a good night.
Bye. Lose your bones.